Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 364, and we have Sean Wilkinson and Nate Hale here as usual. We have a special guest tonight. We'll bring him on momentarily. We got some new stuff for you, both on the spirit side and the cigar side. And before we get into that, I want to thank all of you guys out there. Obviously, those who support us just by sharing, liking, and viewing and enjoying the show. We appreciate all you guys out there. Those that do a little bit of Patreon action, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast or Venmo at Bourbon and BS. We really appreciate that from you guys. Helps keep this thing streaming with less money out of our pockets, which is nice. So we appreciate that. We love seeing you guys every other Wednesday. So thank you for that. We also want to thank Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. This is a shop that we are based out of, Columbus, Ohio. Tinder Box, been around for a long time, 27 years at the Easton location. We've got a cigar tonight that the brand is carried there, but this particular blend is not. But check out Punch Cigars at Tinder Box at Easton. And also want to thank Altadis USA. You see some of their brands behind us. You got Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, H. Upman, Aging Room, among others. And our second cigar is from Altadis USA. But tonight we have the Romeo Julieta. This is the Reserva Real Nicaragua Profundo made by AJ Fernandez. So check them out as well. And then BS Cigar Company. The gold is made by Plasencia and the silver is made by Espinosa Cigars. So check them out as well. All Nicaraguan for both of those. The gold is more medium bodied and you're going to have a fuller and pepperier experience with the silver. So check them out as well. And then the buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS for any of the shirts. Sean and I are wearing the same shirt tonight. We look like twins. He has glasses on. And then you have Nate over there with the stop flexing.
I can't compare to your giant arms. Sorry.
I'm a little heavy. But yeah, he's got the green podcast shirt. It's pour one more, light up another. We'll figure this out together. Check out those for any of those shirts for the podcast or BS Cigar Company. And as always, please share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all the formats that you enjoy listening to our show. Tell your friends and your family if you're not embarrassed. Tonight, we have a distillery that many of you may not have heard of. This is new to us. We've got two offerings, and we have the third generation of the blender and distiller here, from what I'm being told. We have Nick Maas from Dancing Goat Distillery.
Love the name.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. Thanks for complimenting the name.
Yeah, Nick, it said in the information I was given from Aaron, it was you're the third generation blender and distiller. Is that correct? Is that accurate information?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So my name is Nicholas Maas. I'm coming at you from Cambridge, Wisconsin, the Dancing Goat Distillery. I'm a third generation blender and distiller. My father, Tom Maas, I blend and distill with him currently. I love him dearly. Master formulated many very popular cordials, liqueurs, just products in general. Had a really long career at Jim Beam, over 20 years. Long career at Jack Daniels before that. And then his father, my grandfather, I miss him, my grandpa Dwayne, he was a chemical engineer. He ended up becoming the president of Fleischmann's Distillery. But he first became the GM of the facility, then became the president of the company and the facility. He worked at Barton Sullivan's. He became a large-scale spirits distillery consultant. He worked until he died with us on our family brand. The whole story that we have is possible because of our time spent developing and marketing a product called Chata. So me, my dad, and my grandfather all did that together. We recently sold that 2 years ago. And that's how we finance a lot of this company. So that's where rum chata come from. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar. It looks like suntan lotion box. Tastes like heaven. Yeah, kid's ass.
Wow.
Yeah, we sold that.
Great animal cracker shots or whatever.
Yeah, it does, bro. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. We did the flavor on that. I was 18 years old, and I was bartending, and my dad had retired from Beam, and he was just developing products and selling them, and he literally developed a product, have marketing around it, flavor profile, he'd sell them to companies. And this was the one that he tried a bunch of people on it. And my mom said, you got to keep it because you got the skills to grow it and get what it's worth. Don't sell this for 10 G's, But we did the flavor together. Originally, the cool thing about a lot of people don't know is originally it was a non-alcoholic product. It was a ready-to-drink horchata that we sold out of Walgreens in Chicago. Walgreens pressed our margins, and I say our, it's my dad. I was in college. I was bartending my way through college, and he was in a meeting, and they pressed his margins. He didn't control his production, so there's not much he could do. And he goes, "All right, well, if that's the price you need, I'm out of business." And he just walked out the door. And as he's walking out, the mule in him, the goat in him said, "F it, I'm gonna put some booze in it, man." And a couple months later, I come home and he's like, "Yo, try this." He's like, "Yo, try this." And it was yeah. But originally, me and him went through many recipes of horchata to get that recipe right, and I think we got it right.
Hell yeah! So that makes more sense when learning about you and the distillery, and it says a very influential family in the industry, but not really known by most.
Holy smokes. Yeah. I mean, when I think about all the crazy shit that my grandpa did and my father did, it's nuts. I mean, my dad actually just came out with a book you can get on Amazon. It's called Tastes Like Money. Sorry, I had to plug my dad's shit.
Plug away.
I just did. But he goes into a lot of crazy stories in there. But my dad, when he was working at Beam, he became a leader in the marketing department, and he started leading the whiskeys, global whiskeys leadership position. And he had a lot of just really good ideas that were low hanging, but people wouldn't do. Rum chata would have been whiskey creams would have been a Jim Beam product in the 90s if they didn't think it was going to feminize bourbon. He left his non-compete, ran out, and we come out with a rum cream and smoked them, but there's hits and there's misses, right? But like my dad worked on a bunch of stuff. I mean, he had to go, and yeah, he has a bunch of stories. You should meet my dad. You should have him on here. He'd love to come on.
That'd be great.
My grandpa was the most honest person in the spirits industry for like 50 years. To his detriment at times, I think, in his career, but he was the man. And you can even ask. I mean, you go to Heaven Hill. You ask the Shapiros about my grandpa, the only honest guy in the industry, Nick Maas. And so I think the Shapiros actually referencing some crazy. He had some crazy jobs. One of his jobs was he had to go to the Chartreuse Monastery. He got hired as a consultant because they referred to him from another person that he consulted for that he's an honest guy and he won't cheat you. But he went to go work at the Chartreuse Monastery, and they were having some wet dog smells coming off their stills. And he's going through there, and he's like, "Yo, let me show you guys like citric acid," And but he went through, and my grandpa could taste things and tell you what was wrong. He understood the condition of the metal. He understood where it should be, where it isn't. He understood mash mechanics and dynamics. He understood good smooth whiskey, right? And like that, because that's all they made was good smooth whiskey back then. And so he worked on chartreuse. We actually have a bottle of chartreuse from 1945 as a gift to him from the monks from one of the first runs. I think the first run when it came back from World War II and turned back on from antiseptic to liquor. The other real cool one, Galliano, he went and standardized the Galliano formula. So my grandpa was not only the only person he's the only person to know chartreuse formula besides the monks, also the only person to know the Galliano formula besides the Gallianos. But he ended up his career working a lot in Asia, building giant soju and baijiu factories. We're talking distilleries, distilleries the size of O'Neill Vintners in California. I mean, huge in the middle of nowhere. And massive, and they worked on him. My dad and him worked on brands. My dad had the great idea to take a no out of the bottling line and make him a master distiller. Jim Beam, they had a no just working a bottling line. And my dad was like, "What the hell are we doing? We got a direct descendant. Let's educate him and let's get him out there talking about his family's legacy." My dad, single barrels. I mean, probably the bane of your existence, right? People don't know where single barrels came from. Single barrels got really popular lately as like a way to move more inventory, right? But originally single barrels came, I believe, from, Blanton's obviously is always straight from the barrel, but also early Knob Creek. And early Knob Creek was crazy. They had the craziest marketing budget in the early 90s. Even in Distiller, have you guys ever heard Distiller's Masterpiece, the early 90s releases from Jim Beam? That was a 20-year beam that they just found in the Rick House. And I was there for, Distiller's Masterpiece is a crazy story. Oh, it's a crazy story. I don't know how much I want to talk about Beam during my podcast, but I mean, it's they lost casks in the warehouse, And the thing was, you'd often lose cast with Booker because Booker get pissed off that and these aren't my stories to tell. These are my grandpa's stories.
Yeah.
These are my dad's stories to tell. But Booker would get it. My dad and Booker were really tight. And they traveled the world together. My dad took them on a tour or media tour all over the world, and they traveled together. He loved them. And one of the things that just was nuts is like Booker would have it. The Booker's bourbon came from the idea that Booker would stow away barrels in the wick house. Oh, that's our bourbon. You're not putting that in white label. You're not putting that in black label. That's our bourbon. We're keeping that back. I mean, that's where Booker's came from. Is that the whole premise of Booker's, which is just wild. And and my dad worked on all that. You know, with Knob Creek, they had this huge budget. They'd fly to New York City, try to get you to buy a barrel. If you would, you'd get on a private jet, and then you'd end up in Claremont on the facility grounds with the nose, and you'd pick it with them. That was like the first single barrel. Yeah, dude. And then now thinking
that's high class.
That's gnarly. I mean, you'd have dinner out there. That's nuts. I mean, think about that. That's great for what?
Alone ain't cheap.
For a barrel of Knob Creek? I mean, shit.
Right.
I mean, you know, so it's just
it's not even that big of an investment, right? I mean, like as far
it
as
wasn't, but it was the culture, right? It was.
Yeah,
It's a brand they're trying to build. It's an image.
Yeah.
You know, now look at what Knob Creek is now. Knob Creek is regal. It is sexy. It is, you know, but it was just made up at one point in time. Like a lot of brands, it was just made up at one point in time. You know, and to give it legitimacy, you had to give it legitimacy. You know, if you go, we were just in New York at a shout out to my consultants, Well Spun. I love you guys. Thank you for all your hard work on Stillman Sonder that I promise we're going to get to talking about today. But we were just out there for portfolio.
We're going to sip
tasting.
on it while you talk. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
But there's still giant whiskey ads all over Manhattan, all over New York City. I mean, it's a major target for culture, right? In America and in the world, you know. And I think one of the things that they really did, that Jim Beam really did, and Bourbon really did in the night, and I'm going to include Jack Daniels in that because I'm a technical person, not a marketing person. I'm a technical person, and Big Bourbon, including Jack Daniels in that, they really changed whiskey from NASCAR gut rot to like something you could fucking, you know, you could drink and look classy on a date as an investment banker. And that took 30 years. It took 30 years to get to taters. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it took 30 years to get to like single barrel stickers. And in the middle of that was like Mad Men, you know? It's pretty tight.
Well,
my family's history is really cool. Sitting with my grandpa was unbelievable, the things that he would start to say and the problems he could solve. I mean, dude, one time we had to take a whiskey turn black. It turned black. Somebody dropped a lock in it, little carbon steel on that lock. Oh, that rusted in the tank. It turned the whiskey black, whole tank. And I'm sitting there like, shit. And like, who do you think dropped the lock in? You know, who do you think dropped the lock in? And he's like, all right, this is what you're going to do. He's like, you go to every dollar store, boy, and you're going to buy all the evap milk you can get. And I go and I grab all this evaporated powdered milk I can get. And we come back, put that in the ditch, fucking filter it out on a micron. You couldn't even tell.
Really?
How do you even do? Yeah, because it bound to the salt. It bound to the fats in there and took it right out.
Did he have like a chemical engineering? I didn't hear that.
He was a badass chemical engineer. He got his first job. He was selling fuel for Shell Petrochemical, and there was a train that would go back and forth. I think it went from like Plainfield, Illinois to Baltimore or something like that, or like to it went to New York, and New York to Kentucky, essentially New York to Illinois. And all the bourbon execs would be on there because Plainfield used to be like a hub for bourbon. And so all the execs from New York would travel out, you know, through Kentucky and they'd stop in Plainfield, and then there's a route that came all the way back. And my grandpa would be on that route all the time, and there was a bridge car in the back where people would just smoke and play bridge. And one day it opens, and like, does anyone out here know how to play bridge? And my grandpa was a master's bridge player, and he's like, I do. And they go, get in here and play. And after 2 games, he runs it. And after 2 games, like, son, what do? You sell alcohol? You know alcohol? Can you run a plant like the card game? Do you want a job at Fleischmann's Distilling? Can you run the plant for me? I need someone I can trust. And that's how he
bridge game.
Oh, the bridge, dude, the guy would cut him up, bro. He could cut him up. And to this day, like, all my family is really good at, especially zero-sum card games. We're really good at cutting people. I don't know if you know that term, like cutting people up. Like, we'll kill you. Like, he just taught us that strategy of zero-sum games of like, we love all those games. Or like team games, euchre, big one around here.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All
Here
that.
too, yeah.
So,
Love it.
and that's all like tradition family. I can think of hours and hours and hours spent around the table with my grandpa, you know, just playing.
I love it.
Hard to find a bridge game these days, isn't it?
You gotta know. You gotta be with the sickness. You gotta have a club or something of people.
It is. It's like it's a generation before us, right? I mean, that's like my parents. They had like bridge parties.
Well,
My mom.
This is what
my
kids
mom
do
kept
all
with
night now.
Yeah, my mom, like the women of the church, like they'd have like bridge like party, like they'd have like bridge night. It was like back in the day, like once a week. Then it was once a month, and then it's like sadly, a lot of the ladies have not been able to play bridge anymore just because they've aged out. So
it's sad. It's
and interesting to hear that. It's awesome.
Kids don't play. Well, card games are so good for you too. Not only just manual dexterity, but processing and like learning how the world works. Like you want to teach a kid how to like lose gracefully, fuck them up in oh hell. You know what I mean? Like, sorry.
No,
I got young kids, and I can't wait to start like teaching some hard life lessons to these kids. Like I can't wait to box them out in the post.
He's waiting for that video.
But anyways, should we talk about my whiskeys at all?
No, that's fine. We don't need to. We don't need to.
You like my malt? You drinking my malt over there?
We are.
Our
yes.
Malt? What do you think? Is it for you? Is it not for you?
No, I like it. I like
good.
It. And I can't tell. So I was mistaken on the cigar. I had not smoked the cigar. I didn't think it would have some spice to it, but it does have some spice to it. Are you guys agreeing with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it does. I think it brings out a little bit of that from the bottle too.
Yeah, it's a fun bottle. We worked, the really cool thing about that, and I think in talking about my grandparent and my father, I think he's I probably get a more graceful segue here. I could have fucking just rolled from that. I'm just gonna roll from that. Yeah, my grandpa and my father, their history in the whiskey is so cool. And that brings us to Stillman Sonder, the culmination of the celebration of my grandpa and my father by me.
Okay.
It was a really cool process to develop this whiskey. Our facility in general, the Dancing Goat, is kind of an interesting place. We didn't build this place because people wanted us to make whiskey. We built this place because we wanted to. And we bought a lot of whiskey from MGP. We have a lot. We have thousands of barrels from MGP. And we also have thousands and thousands of barrels that we've made. And we continue to make a lot of whiskey to this day. We don't buy whiskey annually anymore. We bought a few lots when it made sense to us in the last couple of years, but for the most part, we've just been distilling our own. And we're really just a little collection of friends and family here in Cambridge. We love what we do. We love celebrating life every day. We have a lot of fun. We love each other. This is just kind of a celebration of that. And it's an extension of my grandfather. My grandfather really believed that whiskey should be accessible. I mean, he really it's a commodity. I mean, when we went to go build this place, me and my dad were like, well, what do we got to do? I was like, how many pot stills do I need? And he wouldn't even talk to me. He said, you and your dad are idiots. He said, you and your dad are freaking idiots. And you'll never make any money without a column. And I'm not talking to you until that's the conversation. And we never actually got that. I tricked him into talking to me about it. But we built this place after we were really successful in the industry to spend more time together. And it was an awesome experience. My grandpa took his last trip to China when we just started construction at this place. And when he was over there, he got a really weird infection in his spine. It was kind of like a meningitis type thing. And we flew him back. He was unconscious, really lost mobility. And then when he was in the hospital here, he got MRSA. And so he recovered from the meningitis, but he never really recovered from the MRSA. And he was bedridden for a long time, and he died bedridden. And
wow.
So he never got to see his place finished. And one of the really interesting, really cool things about my grandpa and his time spent in the industry was when he passed away, I went to a whiskey class, a whiskey teaching master class taught by Dave Pickrell.
Yeah.
And it was at New Holland Craft Distillery in Michigan. It's like an 8-person class, and it's like the blocking and tackling basics of like, all right, dude, like this is the major equipment list, and this is what you should know. And if you don't know this, you need to go know this, right? Like this is how you turn it on. Like this is how you process the starch. This is how you liquefy it. This is how you ferment it. This is what's important. And on the first day I'm at the class, I'm ready to go. I got notes. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. And I come in, I look, and I see this guy, and I'm like, that's Dave Pickrell. All right. And I knew he was, and I heard of him, but I didn't understand whiskey like I do now. And also I didn't have a relationship with Dave yet, so I didn't know how special he was. And I walk in there, and oh God, this is so funny. I walk in there, and I sit down, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm thinking, man, I'm like, this guy's got a bad attitude. I was like, this guy does not want to be here. And he's looking at me, Like, and he's like looking at his hat, looking at me, and puts his hat. And I was like, man, this guy's probably drunk. I was like, this, what the hell's going on? And he's sitting there, he falls asleep. Faulkner walks in, he's running the class. The class hasn't started yet, so it's not weird that he felt. It is weird because you should be introducing yourself. You should be like, hi, I'm Dave. Thanks for coming to class. You know, but
not be asleep. Yeah.
Yeah. But he comes in and they do attendance and they say my name, Nick Maas, and he goes, stop. What's your name? I go, Nick Maas. He goes, are you Dwayne's son? And I was like, no, I'm Tom's son. He's like, Maas. You're not Dwayne's son. And I go, no, I'm Dwayne's grandson. He's like, so you are? He's like, so you know Dwayne Maas? And I said, yeah. He goes, what the fuck are you doing here? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, what the fuck are you doing in this class? Your grandpa, why aren't you doing this with your grandpa? I go, my grandpa's dying, man. He can't even talk.
Oh.
And he goes, I work for your grandpa. Come and see me after class. And I went through the classes. This is like a brutal class. It's super long and dense. And we get to this class. I come up to it at the end of the day, and he's like, come on, let's go to the bar. And we sit there, and he asked me what happened. I told him the whole story, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, I worked for your grandpa at Barton. He was out of Chicago, and I was at the plant in Kentucky, and we didn't have a lot of respect for people in Chicago until your grandpa showed up. He always solved problems on the floor, and he deferred to us, the operators, and I really respected that. He taught me a lot about what he always says, taught me a lot about pressures and sanitation. And he said, I'm going to help you. And I said, great, you'll be our consultant. And he's like, no, you're going to do all the work yourself because that's your grandpa made you do, but I'm going to help you. And so I sent him what we've been working on, floor plans and everything. And he went through them for us and made a bunch of edits, sent them back. And we got everything laid out. We got open. And he toured with Blackened to do he toured with Metallica to do the Blackened releases. He actually He knew we needed cash flow. He rented out our distillery to do the Blackened release early. Like that, we opened our facility, our tasting room, for him to do the Blackened launch. And it was just and our business needed to do it.
Wow.
We needed to get there, right? But like he also knew, like, he's like, man, I love this kid. I love this kid's grandpa, curmudgeonly old grandpa, and he just wanted to help us. And he knew that was the right thing to push us to do. And so when they came here for the Blackened launch, took a tour with everybody, and he had me on the back. But then we went back around again alone. He set everybody else up. He's like, boy, get the fuck over here. And he was always cursing me, get the fuck over here. And I'm like, all right. And he takes me around and he goes, you see that right there? And he's pointing at a steam trap, uninsulated steam trap. And I'm like, yeah, the swazzle valve. And he's like, yeah. He goes, you get that the fuck out of here. And he's like, it's going to cost you $1,000 a year. And I was like, what? He's like, get it the fuck out. I want a regular trap in there, insulate it. And I was like, yes, sir. And I go, anything else? He goes, yeah, get in here. He takes me in the boiler room, shows me a second one. And he goes, that motherfucker's gone. And I go, yes, sir. He goes, all right, I'll see you next time. And he got in a limo and he went to the Metallica concert in Madison, Wisconsin. He must have had a great time because he texted me late. And then a couple of weeks later,
you up?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Hey, you coming? I'm trying to get a steak, boy. I can get a steak at midnight. I'm hungry. The Metallica boys ain't eating steak right. But a couple of weeks later, he passed away in San Francisco. Jeez, and so, so I got to see him. He got to see the place. My grandpa didn't, but he did. And in a way, that's him seeing it. So,
you think about writing a book from all this shit?
No, man, I'm so busy trying to make whiskey. But
when you settle down,
just wrote a book. My dad just wrote a book
on Amazon.
Oh, that's right.
It's on Amazon.
On Amazon about this rum chata story.
What's the book called?
Tastes Like Money.
Tastes like what?
Tastes like money.
Love it.
But writing, like, so you just said something really interesting though. Like, when are you going to write a book? We did it. We made Stillman Sonder instead. And Stillman Sonder is kind of this culmination of the experience of what we've lived through with Dancing Goat, but also, let me tell you something. So I've been making whiskey for a long time. I make a lot of whiskey. I got this whiskey. This kicks ass. This is a 12-year rye. This kicks ass. This is a cherry bitters finished corn whiskey from MGP. This is unbelievable.
Hold those up again.
Another one.
Get you on I can't see it for a lot of the people out there.
God, I make what I'm trying to get the point is I make a ton of whiskey, but you've never heard of any of it, because we make really small batches of sometimes silly whiskey. And I'm coming around more to this idea that like maybe this isn't what all the bourbon consumers want. Like what my expression of my soul, may not be what really attracts serious bourbon consumers. And so Stillman's was this idea that we need to make a serious whiskey. We need to make a serious whiskey for serious whiskey drinkers to honor my grandfather's legacy. And when it came down to it, we said, all right, well, we have a bunch of single malt. Let's try a single malt. And I make whiskey. I make a lot of it. I love making whiskey. I think I'm freaking great at it. I think that my team is awesome at making whiskey. I think I'm probably one of the few people that you talk to that is on equipment. Like I cook mashes, I distill things. That's what I do during the day. Like that's what I like to do during the day. I also drink a lot of whiskey, so I blend whiskey, right? Which I think you guys probably talk to a lot of blenders. But I'm new at blending. I have an inventory used, but like, my grandpa wasn't, a huge blender because he was a big drinker. My dad was a master blender, master formulator of a lot of liqueurs and cordials. And I still think he kicks ass. He's told me a lot of stuff, but for me, it was a new thing. And so we decided to get some help, and we got a consultant, Wellspun Consulting. And Will and his team has just been unbelievable in helping us just channel our inventory into something that can be leveraged marketably, right? And one of the things that we looked at with the malt is this product took 2 years to develop. And we looked at 2 main lots at MGP. MGP's early malt production is really sporadic. They started selling malt in the 2010s, I think, but they custom make it for you earlier than that. But they really didn't carry it as a base item until pretty decently recently. Like they weren't making malt for people in 1990, or at least not the malts they're making now. Their malt program is starting to take off more, but malt has really proven to be something that we all thought would make it bigger as craft distillers than the market has really had reception to. Our inventory is very weird. Me and my dad buy whiskeys. We don't buy whiskeys because they're commercially viable and applicable. We buy them because we like them and they have a great story and they're interesting. And so we've had a lot of malt whiskey, 2 different lots. One of them was a rehome, so we bought a custom distilled lot for somebody. It's another company that decided not to enter the malt space, and during COVID, they wanted to rehome all their malt inventory to pay for that year's production, which makes a lot of sense. And so we were like, hell yeah, we'll take that. So that's a 99.1, 99% malt, 1% Negra Pilsner. Same thing as like, Modelo Negra Pilsner. The other one is an 85-15 caramel pills. So brewer's malt and caramel pills. And that's what we have in the glass today.
Okay.
This malt is, we have an opportunity as distillers to stake a flag in single malt and craft single malt, American single malt. And what a lot of people have expected is it to be similar to Scotch. At times I have had that expectation too, but also there's a lot of reasons why I don't want to make peated whiskey. I mean, sanitation primarily. That's the things I want a Flexo facility because we do a lot of contract production for other people. But harvesting peat is not sustainable. I want to sell distillates that are 8 to 12 to 20 years old, not 15 to 25 to 40 years old. It's just a different thing I want to do. I want to use a lot of new wood. And so those are the things that we decided to do here in this space. We specifically wanted our malt to compete with Scotch malt in quality and with price. And so 10 years at that price point, we think is really, really competitive with the industry. And it's also, we're probably the only 10-year-old craft malt out there. Transparently, it is MGP. It was bourbon and it was column distilled and doubled. We make both those malts to this day. We bought that lot and we fill our own backstock for it. We love that malt. The malt itself at about 8 to 9 years old is very grassy. If you drink a lot of single malt, which a lot of people don't, non-peated single malt, I'm going to say, which a lot of people don't, especially young, it's a very particular grass note. And we wanted that grass note to mature out. And so we knew we wanted to do a rebarreling. And so what we ended up doing for 2 years is what my grandpa would have done. He would have left no stone unturned. He would have tried every single permutation possible that the budget allows, right? And so we went on a giant rebarreling test with the inventory. And so we took a bunch of our malt whiskey, did a blend of it. We also took other spirits as well. We did, some bourbon, some Canadian style rye, Canadian style corn whiskeys, bourbon mashes, and bourbon as well, right? And we filled them into a bunch of different finishing casks. We did Calvados, Sauternes, cognac, port. We did all types of stuff, sherry, and many types of sherry. More types of sherry than I like. But we tried everything we could to see what would make this whiskey a great ingredient. And one of the inspirations for that one is just the technical nature that my grandpa's precision and history has, but also meeting Will as our consultant. And I tend to close these loops that seem like I'm ranting, but Will come in as a consultant to help us do that. Is this okay? Is this
yeah,
right?
it's a lot of information. We're not bored. We're just listening.
Okay,
watching you and we're listening.
I'm doing
Is this level of technical information appropriate, or
Absolutely.
is it too? Okay, sick. And so the thing that Will should be a lot more famous. Will blended seagrass barrel. We worked at Barrel for a long time. Worked there. Head of sales. Name's Will Schragus. He is literally the man. I love this guy. And what Will taught me about whiskey is, Nick, you have essentially what he taught me is we have a spice box. He has a chef's background. He went to culinary school. And Will is the coolest dude ever. You should get him on your podcast.
What's his last name?
Schragus. Will Schragus.
Yeah.
We've had
He's my guy. I love Will.
Yeah.
I love Will.
Will's awesome.
So Will taught me to look at the power of rebarreling to create ingredients. And so we can take a great whiskey, right, and we can make it a better whiskey. And how do we do that? How do we make it a better whiskey? Well, what does it lack? Does it need acidity? Does it need nuance? Is it too bitter? Is it too light? We can use a rebarrel and a finish to make a better ingredient. And then we're just looking at this. It's not a blend of these naked barrels. It is all these different shades of paint. They're beautiful. They can be blended together, and they can really, the hands, dude. I'm a Chicago boy.
Bobby's a Philly boy.
I love you, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, come at me, dude. Let's go see a Phillies game. I want to watch the Phillies game with you, Brewers, baby. Let's go. But the really cool thing about Will, what Will's able to do is Will is able to look at whiskeys what it can be and not what it is right now. And there's a lot of levers you can pull. You can add acidity. You can add bricks. You can add, you can oxidize it. You can let it dilute itself. You can let it proof itself in a different way. There's a lot of things you can proof it. And so the level of complexity of this barrel test was insane. We went into multiple types of new cooperage. There was over 150 different permutations that we were looking at, 150 different barrels created across several inventory segments and at multiple proof levels. The other thing we wanted to look at is what proof does the place finish best at? So when we come back to blend them all together, we have the best ingredients we can. And so what we ended up with was 3 different types of virgin new oak. So rebarrel. So this is the blend itself. Is 3 different types of virgin new oak, Calvados cask, cognac cask. There's a Barron's brandy cask in there, which I'd love to talk about Barron's brandy in this. Shout out to Charlie, you're the man. Shout out to my Barron's team. You guys are all the women and men. And then I think I already said, Calvados, cognac, brandy, and ex-bourbon. Very wet bourbon, ex-bourbon cask. So, and then 3 different types of new oak. And so the way that we blend this is we do a master blend for malt, okay? And then we fill our finishing casks. We get them to the proofs, the polarity that we need them to be effective, to get them to change how we want them to as an ingredient. And then we have 7 ingredients and we blend those back together. And so that's the culmination of what's in front of you. When we were making this
technique, I've not heard much of that before.
It's I'll tell you what, dude, it was expensive. No, I'm just kidding. It was expensive from a manpower resource and from barreling to that's a lot of barrels. It's a lot of money in barrels. There's a lot. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of tests we didn't pick that I still got.
Yeah, that's the expensive part too, right? You don't know how it's going to all marry together.
But you know what? That's every rock unturned. That's what my grandpa would have done, and I think that what we did is we really found a phenomenal expression for our whiskey that accentuated things that were great about it, that matured things that maybe weren't the best, and made it the most approachable. The proof is kind of an interesting thing. We originally were looking at this whiskey at a higher proof, and as we kept proofing it down, it just kept getting better. And I even said on a principle at the start of our project, it can't be under 100 proof. And once we got it down to like 99 proof, it was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And then 96, 90. And so
did it bring out more flavor? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's extended
like tolerable flavor. It's not as like
extended the finish.
Yeah,
extended the finish. And this is something that you see. So a lot of gins about 94 proof, 94 proof, 93 proof, 92 proof, depending on the exact mix of your solution. That's going to be the most viscous that alcohol is. And so things that are viscous, right? creates demulgency. It's a tendency for things to linger on the palate.
Sure,
and so
sure.
what you'll often find is if you're not diluting out a lot of flavor, you'll have a better whiskey to lower proof. As long as you don't dilute out too much flavor. Like there's some whiskeys that if you dumped at 110, if you dilute them to 94, you take so much flavor out of it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of whiskeys that are unaccessible and bound at 110 proof, and they can really open up at 103. They might open up more at 109, or 100. I'm sorry, at 99, at 96. It just depends on one, the drinker, right? But then two, and that's one of the things I like about cask strength is giving the drinker the opportunity to proof it how they wish. I mean, one of my favorite whiskeys, Found North, right? I mean, it's on the damn bottle, right? Proof this down, let it sit. And we think you should add 15 milliliters of water to this and let it sit. That's on a Found North bottle. I've read it there, And so, I'm not saying every whiskey needs that, but I respect it,
That's what you found,
yeah. And from a chemical standpoint, the chemistry on that is valid. Alcohol as a solution is most viscous at that stage. Yes, and obviously, we spent 2 years on this thing. We come out with it and like a little disappointed how much malt we've sold, and I think that I don't think anyone's selling a lot of malt.
It's not as popular, right? It's just not.
We just saw a huge single malt distiller go out of business, right? Like not a lot of people are drinking American single malt. It's a very immature category. It just is. It's not even, not a lot of people even drink. So when we opened our distillery, we didn't even make bourbon. I didn't make bourbon. We didn't buy any. It was like bourbon was the coolest thing in the world. And we were like, screw it, because we don't like bourbon. Me and my daddy like Canadian style rye because we're losers. And so that's what we made. It's Canadian style rye. And that's what we bought from MGP because we like it. My granddad used to make it and we love it. And we learned real quick, hey, you losers better start making some bourbon. So we made a bunch of bourbon. So now we we actually make more bourbon than we make anything else, I think. Especially with customers. Yeah, for sure. And so less people, my whole point there is I know not a lot of people drink rye. And I'm telling you, even less people are drinking American single malt. And I don't blame them. I think that the category needs to mature. I mean, I don't think that you should just go out and buy bottles because they exist on shelf. I don't.
Why do you think it is? Do you think there's the people that try it, they don't like it as much possibly? Or do you think that it's just
most
I
people
mean,
won't try
sales, it's not going to work because it's not trendy.
Most people won't try it. Most people won't try it. When we get people to try it, they go, "This is malt whiskey," but most people won't try it. And then if I'm in the car with a rep, people will try it, right? Sure. But like when I'm not there, my rep's there first. When I work in the car with the rep, the feedback I get is, "I can't believe that showed well," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, no one ever tries it."
Yeah, they don't.
And it's just
they don't know what it is.
Hard sell. It's hard. No one knows what American Single Malt is. We don't even know. I mean, the standards of it didn't even suck. I mean, it's like no one even, the rules aren't clear. No one knows. And that's okay. That's just where it's at. And that's kind of my comment is I'm not sitting here being like, man, my malt's failing. I don't think anyone's making a ton of money off American Single Malt.
I think you hit it. And I think you touched on it with the bourbon side of it. I mean, there was a time, again, I think, I'm 45. So even a generation before me, like when I was in my 20s, I was like, oh, you get a job, like you come home from work. And for me, it was like, I was getting into cigars a little bit. And then on top of that, it was like, all right, I'm going to drink scotch, like not drink it like all the time, but like have a nightcap or whatever, because that's kind of what was the whiskey world at that time. And then you had the single malt scotches, right? And I think that we've come so far that's not even what people drink anymore in this country. If you're between the ages of like, say 25 and maybe even 55, I mean, your baby boomers that were drinking that, they've either died off or they're not drinking as much. And I think the younger generation is not drinking, and we hear it all the time now. I don't know how true it is or not. They're not drinking as much. But I mean, when you see single malt on there, that is something that it used to be a blended scotch was no good. The single malts were good. And then it turned into what's the mash bill of bourbon. You know what I mean? And so it's like that took such a strong hold on things that I don't think that the rye's caught on as much, because it's usually a little bit of a bolder flavor, if you will. And sipping on this thing, it has some spice to it. It's not a familiar flavor.
Sure.
I don't think. It doesn't say it's good or bad to your point. It's like, it's not failing. It's just no one understands it yet, because the expressions that I've tried that are American single malts, I don't know if you guys agree, Nate, I know you probably had more, but it's a different spirit. It's not in the bourbon world, and I think it's getting lumped into the bourbon aisles, even though it's an American whiskey. I think that's where you're looking for the classic bourbon flavor. This isn't it. But
no, absolutely not.
That's okay.
Not. Yeah.
So I don't know what it's going to take for it to kick in.
Well, I think, and the other thing too is if you go and you taste any other American single malt, it doesn't taste like ours. I'm not sitting here like saying I got the best single malt and it's very unique. Ours is 10 years old and it's blended. It's finished 7 different ways to reblend together. It's not going to taste like any single source distillate.
That's not on the bottle though, right?
Yeah, it is. We talk about all that. We talk about all of our blending process on there.
I was wondering too if it'd be worth, like, are you guys struggling with this bottle, or did it just come out? Or
I think isn't it on the side?
No, that's what I'm saying. So this, you have on the main label. I'll put it up there. Maybe there. So you have it. This is the lighter shade label there for everyone watching here.
the white label. Yeah.
So you have basically the graphics there. You have age 10 year. You have the government warning on the left hand side. This is a 700 ml bottle, which is coming around a lot more too. But this is, it looks like your story, like a snapshot. This is like a dust, like a dust cover for a book. I mean, this is, and it's great. It's great, but it's not what you're saying. The Stillman is the quiet, constant foundation of whiskey making, barrel by barrel, shift by shift. They're in the hands of the levers and the stewards of the still. This is through the made, all of that. And then it's both a tribute and a celebration of everything made possible by the spirit makers of America's heartland. This bottle is an invitation to pause, connect, and reflect on the tapestry of our lives and the moments we share, whether sipped in solitude or with great company. Stillman Sonder reminds us every step and every story matters.
Dude,
it's so nice.
You got to use his voice for a commercial. There you're set.
Yeah, if you need like a voiceover,
You do have a delicious voice. You do have a very good voice.
Very nice way to
if you were struggling, if you were struggling with selling that, are you guys selling it, or is it kind of?
I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm going out of business because my single malt isn't selling. I think that our single malt is performing as well as we can expect it to.
Okay.
I think we are in stores in Wisconsin and online, but I just think I don't.
Wisconsin and
how many? So let me prove my point. How many bottles of American Single Malt do you three have?
Do you have?
Do we have?
We have the one.
No, what do we have as a collection for each of us?
Like at a home?
Yeah.
Total.
What do you have in
all
your
three of you?
cabinet?
Do you have any American Single Malts?
I drank all of mine.
What do you have?
I had a couple different ones from Courage and Conviction out of Virginia.
Great.
And we had the Jim Beam one.
Yes.
A couple years ago on the show that tastes like grape nut cereal.
I didn't have that one. I skipped that one. But I think that's a good case in point. You guys don't even have any at your house right now.
Right.
Besides the bottle. And that's my whole point, is that there's just not a lot of interest, which is kind of where the bourbon came from. Was we've developed this well, can I go back? First of all, thank you for making my job so easy. Reading the label for me and actually bringing up that it looks like a dust jacket is a great segue into our
I
label.
like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Can we talk about it a little bit?
Yes.
So
I
label,
love the layout too of like
thank you.
Your factory, your buildings.
Can you see how much I love this layout?
You need a dancing goat up on that shit though, man. You gotta have a goat dancing.
Dude. We got dancing goats. We got dancing goats all over. We have a bunch of dancing goats.
You serious?
I got dancing goats. Don't get me started on.
That's part of the tour if you get up there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Jim Brewer up there doing the goat boy.
Matt, sorry.
Welcome to our dancing goats.
So the dust jacket reference is stellar. So obviously we are from the Midwest. We are in Cambridge, Wisconsin, very close to Madison, Wisconsin. Fun fact, not a lot of people know, I think we have more, pretty sure we have more Andrew. We have more Andrew.
Andrew
we definitely
Lloyd.
have the architect.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I went to I'm just trying to think if we have the most houses by him, Prairie School houses. And I think
so he's big in he is big in Chicago, obviously, Wisconsin. Yes, very big.
He loved our state. And the Prairie School is nearby. Built a bunch of homes here. They still exist. I mean, House on the Rock is nearby. Wingspread is nearby. Iconic homes. There's now museums, right?
Yeah.
And probably one of the most famous Wisconsinites. Definitely, really impactful in the world. And when you start looking at what he did, he developed a system of architecture that centered around the end user, right? And like just looking at him as an architect, right? He was an incredibly technical person, and he believed that the consumer, or the dweller, the person that's going to occupy the home, was the most important person in the design process. And the person who designs it's the least important, right? It's not about what the designer wants to do. It's about providing the person what they deserve, which is a home that integrates with nature and is affordable. He believed in accessibility. He called it Usonia. And it's a guiding principle in his work that he believed architects should work to make homes integrated with nature because it's good for humanity. It's good for us to have natural light and plants and to have shelter and seclusions. It's good. It makes us feel well, right? But then also it should be accessible. We should build these things and make them affordable. Like people deserve housing like this. And that's how we really look at whiskey. We believe that whiskey should be accessible. And that means that it should be priced right. It's affordable. I'm not sitting here saying that this is commodity cheap whiskey, right? But I have transparently told you this is MGP that we have refinished for 2 years and then reblended. I don't need to get $150 for this bottle. I don't. A lot of people are going to try to, a lot of people might need to from their cash, but we don't, because that's not where the market's going to go. And that's not what we believe whiskey. We believe it should be accessible. If you can't afford the bottle of bourbon that we want to make this quarter, that's shame on us. We truly believe that it should be accessible. And that's hurt us at times. That's hurt us because people have been like, why is this shit cheap? And my response is like, it's not shit, bro. You should try it. It's cheap because I got a good acquisition price on this Canadian style rye.
It's not cheap. I mean, it's right in that, I think, any more average price. I mean, so it's affordable when you're looking at these things. Right?
Exactly. I think people are
70.
used to inflated MSRP. I think people are really used to, a lot of people look at $10 a year. And so a lot of people would look at $100 on a bourbon that's 10 years old as being something that they could, that's something that if it's good, I'll pull the trigger on. That tends to be it. And so we look at it a pretty good value segment for 10 years for that $70 price point. And we also think, if you look at Talisker 10, we're right there price point. And so we do think that we can compare with large scale Scotch on price and quality and have something that's just a little bit more approachable for the American palate with it.
How do you grab the audience that in this country, especially, right, it's bourbon heavy still. We've seen a little bit of a flex there as far as the market, but you have the Scotch single malts, drinkers, and then you have this American malt, and it's like you have purists, if you will. It's maybe a little bit of a liberal using, of that term, but I mean, you have purists that are like, I drink bourbon, if it's not 51% corn, if it's not, whatever, I don't, it's just American whiskey, I don't even drink that. And you have the other side of it with the single malt crowd where you have Scotch drinkers and they're like, well, I don't drink American. They don't know what they're doing type thing. You know what I mean? It really is tough to grab a market share there.
Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of Scotch drinkers. You're not. If someone's a Scotch drinker, they drink Scotch and it's probably a peated malt. It's probably like 15, 16 years old. And that spirit, like in premise, right? That spirit structurally depends on oxidation over time to make nuance in a really loud, brackish profile, right? Yeah. It's like you got like deep, heavy horns and bass, like jazz that's frenetic and chaotic, like cellos and being plucked at 10 years old. That is not gonna be palatable, right? And it's a very different product at 10 years old than what we have at 10 years old. And what they really want is that jazz to oxidize out to like honey, velvet lounge music, that's stewed fruits underneath all the solvent. They're not looking for American Single Malt, unless American Single Malt is made the exact same way. But we did not do we didn't do anything in Standards of Identity to do that. We didn't say it had to be peated. We didn't say it had to be used Coopers. We didn't channel it after Scotch. So we're not gonna steal a bunch of their drinkers. Scotch drinkers are pretty dedicated and they're going to stay there, right? And so it's honestly, and there's other, but then there's bourbon consumers, right? That just drink bourbon. Okay. And those people are hard to get to taste. When they do taste it, sometimes they'll buy it, sometimes they won't. But there's also people who are spirit drinkers overall, right? And those people, I call them international drinkers. They like whites a lot. They like rums. They like gins. I'm not going to sit here and be like, they like vodkas because out of here, right? But they're the type of people that like brandy. They like Calvados, and like those are the people that I'm in touch with on the farthest corners of the internet. Those are people who really, really, really love and appreciate the spirit. We just try to taste as many people as we can, but really what you said is the problem, right? Like, how do we get the bourbon drinker to drink this malt? And what we said was, let's make him a bourbon.
I got a question. I got a comment about
Dame.
What now?
Go.
Oh, go.
Dame,
Okay.
tell me.
Yeah. Sorry. Honestly, I wasn't like, when I poured it and I drank it, it wasn't one of those like, oh, this is definitely tastes like a scotch. It's different than like your standard scotches. I was surprised at how much darker it is. So it's almost, I mean, you should put the label, like it should say like from Stillman's Sonder, aged 10 years, from the straight bourbon maker of straight bourbon maker with bourbon whiskey, and then in small letters just put like single malt on the bottom, like Nick, a smaller font. Because honestly, I don't. That to me, when I first drank it, I like I said, I was listening to you and watching everything else, and it tastes very unique as opposed to like your regular single malts. To me, that's just my taste palette and everything like that. But I think it's very compatible to things to the taste that bourbon lovers would actually try, and if they would try it, I think they'd be very pleased.
We blended this to hopefully be to appeal to people who would be willing to try it, who are bourbon drinkers. I think that, I mean, the added tannin speaks to that, and then the sweetness of the product, I think, speaks to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were actually recommending that I try to deceive consumers with my labeling, because that's a federal crime.
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
It's there. It's just fine print.
It's there, but it's just, maybe next to like Dancing Goat font.
Wait, there's alcohol in this?
Yes, a lot of it. A lot of it. I think that the thing with single malt is there's an opportunity to plant a flag and to make a statement. That's what we try to do. Is we said we think this is a sexy whiskey, and if you like that, you should try out the other whiskeys that we make. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are willing to try it, and that's why
could you add like
pivot to the bourbon?
Could you add a mini bottle to the bourbon and just be like,
like a chaser?
Yeah, well, just like if you buy this, you get a free mini for the single. And then,
some states you're not allowed to do that. Ohio.
Both states, and I don't have a package. I don't have 100 ml. We got a small
right. That's what you have to do. You'd have to have a gift set, right, with like 2 or 3 offerings, right, where you could get it.
And I'm not Jim Beam. You know what I mean? Gift set. What a lot of people don't realize about that gift set is that gift set that you're buying for $20 costs them $40.
No, I guess it's
and that's across the board, across the industry.
It's
doubles.
First one's free.
In nothing.
Yeah, it's the first one's free. In nothing. Yeah.
Most gift sets get bought by the reseller and split. So they take the good and they sell it, and then they put your product on the shelf. And can't do it.
I'm not kidding. That is like a drug dealer where it says first one's free, man. That's on me.
It's wild.
And it's like, hey, I hope you like it. But I don't think you should with this. I just had
those. So that's
had both. You don't want to deceive them, because if you think this is a bourbon, you're trying to get a bourbon drinker, you're not going to get them. They're going to sip on this and they're going to be like, whoa, that's a lot. That's kind of like a little more punch to it than I'm used to. As far as I think there is totally different notes there than a normal bourbon, in my opinion. Nate, what do you think?
Because it's not a bourbon, it's a malt.
That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't want to try to entice them necessarily to do that, because they're going to drink it and they might. I mean, honestly, they might be like,
I want to sell this to people that this is a product that's designed for people that want to try malt whiskey. So we made a malt whiskey for malt whiskey drinkers, and we didn't have a lot of them, and so we pivoted to the bourbon. Let's talk about the bourbon. Would you use the same kind of? Well, can we go back to the dust jacket label, because it's really important to kind of like the whole story.
Do you want me to read it again? Is that what you're saying?
No, just go to it. Let me tell you about it. Can you just look at it, please? Can you just look at it? Yeah. If you look at it, that is on the
I don't have a picture of it.
Left. You can see what kind of looks like a spaceship, but that is an Andrew Lloyd Light building from downtown Madison. lined up with the city capitol. Right next to it's a parking garage.
Show up.
Oh, good. I'm just talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
Right next to it's a parking garage. Right next to it's a parking garage. That's where our foreman died, Dan, who built all of our buildings. So we put him on all the bourbon and the malt that we sell. As you keep going, you're going to run into solar fields. Solar panels is a metaphor for the encroachment of solar panels on our farmland here in Wisconsin. And then also the grain, the elevators that we moved out here for. And then there's the actual picture of what we call Whiskey City, which is our facility. You can see our water tower there. And then this is taken from an Andrew Modern Architecture and Modern Life, which is a very famous book by Andrew. And the dust jacket's really famous. And in it, he designs the perfect city. And he has that on the cover. And so that's why we have Whiskey City on the cover. And just to kind of have some fun and to show that it is just a made up place, even though it is a real place, right?
Yeah.
You can see when you look in there that we have coyotes, or we have deer the size of cars right there next to the water tower, and then coyotes the size of deer, because I like to hunt both. So that was my fun that I put in there. But the label itself is a commitment to architecture, to precision, to bringing together pieces and making a great whiskey, to the precision and the art and science of my grandfather, and to whiskey making as a whole. And so that's kind of why we have this label architecture. It ties us regionally to Wisconsin. It celebrates Andrew Lloyd Wright and our community and our agricultural history as a state. And so we pivoted to the bourbon because it really is. It's just hard selling. I mean, it's hard. So, like, listen, you guys are just trying to tell me all the different ways to sell malt to bourbon drinkers. It's hard to sell malt to bourbon drinkers.
Yeah,
and we figured, but you know what's a lot easier is you give them a fucking kick-ass bourbon first, and they'll try whatever you got.
Right. That's right. Anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so exactly. So multi-packs are trouble, especially in Michigan. Don't be multi-packing in Michigan. With the bourbon, we did the same kind of principles. Is we want to create delicious ingredients, and then we want to bring them back together to a delicious whole. As bourbon drinkers really have several specific things they're looking for, right? They're looking for, if you don't have these things, your bourbon's bad. Vanilla, caramel, and oak.
Mm-hmm.
If you have those three things, you're going to get a yum. Even if it's all right, you know, but those are the basis of a good bourbons. From there, what are the things that drive people wild in bourbon? Nuanced flavor notes and high proof, right? And what is high proof? High proof is flavor at the end of the day. Pardon me. So good flavor and nuance. And so what we did is we want to say we want something that is incredibly approachable. We want it to be approachable from a standpoint of taste, flavor, but also price. But also we want something that is delicious and remarkable. We had some MGP inventory. It's really special stuff. It's 21% rye, which I know you guys have had a lot of, and you probably don't think is that special. This 21 rye we rehomed from a friend that passed away. His family, when he passed away, the estate didn't think they could leverage it into a brand. And we said that we will take the inventory. So we bought all of it off of them. I kept a couple. I think Rare Character snagged a couple. But their initial cooperage was Andean oak. Andean, like Cartagena, Colombia Andean, not like Columbia, Missouri. And I'm saying that because pretty much all the bourbon has wood that goes through ISC in Columbia, Missouri. And so I just want to be clear that Columbia, the country, it's a quirky difference. It's still an oak. It's Quercus humboldti is the species name. It has a low vanilla extraction profile in comparison to Quercus alba. And it does give some fruity notes. It can also get a little funky. And so this inventory at 6-7 years old was very light and weak. It was a little too thin, overly fruity, and a little acidic. And so what we said is we want to lengthen out its texture so that we can give a little bit of support to those really intense flavors that could be enjoyed if they had common traditional bourbon notes under it. So what do you think we did?
More oak barrels?
Double oak the fuck out of it. Yeah.
I was gonna say. Sorry, I'm just guessing.
We got the fruit pie. Let's get the sticks, baby. You know? And so
we need more oak, more cowbell.
Did a big blend and then did a rebarrel test. We had a rebarrel test from the rebarrel test I was talking about earlier from the malt, but we also had a rebarreling. We did a double oaking a year and a half before that. And so we ended up doing is at about 9 years old, we started looking at prototype blends of this, 9.5 years old. And we ended up with a blend that uses 2-3 different. So let's say it's a 4-part blend. One part is the naked Andean cast at 10 years old. So those Andean casts that haven't had any other barrel influence to them, they're going to be a little bit thin, really fruity, a little bit of acidity in there in a good way, not in a bad way, but not a tannic acidity, more like a white wine acidity, if that makes sense. And creamy, a little bit of hints of espresso in it, delicious. Left there, that's one segment. The 3-year double oaking that we have is 2 segments of it. So that's 2 of 4 parts, so half of it. And then the last segment is a 1.5 year double oaking. And so the kind of the premise that we took before we blended this whiskey was sticks and berries. We wanted you to be in the forest, in the sawmill. We wanted you to definitively have tannin present in a few different dimensions. And then we also wanted you to have berries. Specifically, this inventory does have good fruit notes to it, which is really, it's not the most common in super old bourbon, except on super old bourbons that you pay a lot of money for. And so we thought it'd be a really good profile.
All right, pause. So
yes,
just those trying to follow at home, it says age 10 years.
Yes.
So is that final with with your finishing, or is that going to be
total timing? That's total. So those double oakings hit 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. So when you get it from, this is MGP as well, or no?
Yes, this is 21 rye MGP.
So you got the MGP, like you said, but it's not 10 years coming from them. This is the additional process of you guys doing what you do to the juice.
We got the inventory at 5 and 6 years old. We assessed it for about 3 years, did a double oaking at 7 years.
Yeah.
And so we did a dump, immediately refilled. So there's no loss in age clock by in terms of the government, like how we have to, double oak barrel is total time in wood. So counts. As long as it was in brand new barrel. If you put it in a used barrel, that's now a finished bourbon. It's not a bourbon anymore. It's not a straight anymore.
Okay, so you're doing the virgin oak barrels as far as the double oaking,
And that's when people say double oak, they're never talking about a used barrel. They're always talking about a new cask, right? And so so by rebarreling it instantaneously, we did not lose any age time on it at all. And so at 7 years, and then at 9 years, we had.
What's so these are these regular release? Like this is a ongoing.
This is a brand this is the brand off the shelf. The start of this series is these 2,
So
these are an everyday item.
So you're continuing to buy or source more of the MGP as you need it.
No, we have a ton of it. I don't have that much of it. I got over 1,000 barrels of it, but I make a shit ton of whiskey every day. One of the things, one of the things
because this process that you're doing, I mean, this is an ongoing process as you go through the supply, and you're trying to forecast, obviously, just like from the business aspect of it, you want to make sure you're forecasting of like, all right, so how much are we continuing to do the double oaking, or we do our side of things? If you're
how much do we need to grow, right? Like how do we
that's
grow,
my question,
right? That's really hard. So I wish I could answer that, but I'm not the business side, I'm the flavor side. But no, that's the problem, right? Is understanding next year, do we need 3,000 cases, and the next year do we need 5,000, and then filling those inventory holes as you need to. So one of the things that you can do, right, is like we have a ton of age stock that's already really old, and we're not going to sell all of it this year. And so that'll be a couple years of blending. And I shouldn't say this, but the age statement's going to still the same, but there's going to be 11 year. Yeah, there will be 11-year bourbon in there, right?
So that's my question is, if you've got 1,000 or call it thousands of this 5 to 6 year old juice from MGP, and you're not like it's sitting another year or two before you get to this process, is that adding to the age of the, as you're forecasting out how many bottles you need to do? Because you have the barrels, they're not going to go anywhere. They're sitting. So it's 5 to 6 years, but now it's 2 years later. Now you got, you got this 7 to 8 year juice, and now you got to go through the same process to try to, keep this consistent, right?
Well, what's wild too, dude, is once you do that, so you start with this initial inventory segment that you're tracking, and it's generally consistent, right? It's going to be generally consistent in terms of like, as long as the coopering is consistent in terms of like evaporation and leakage, 100, right? But then you take that segment, we're going to split it now. And we're going to rebarrel some of it into one type of cooperage for 3 years. And then a year and a half after that, so now we have 3 segments of 3 different barrel types, right? Mm-hmm. That are bringing different profiles you're right. It's madness, dude. Now
you have different product, possibly.
Trying to plan it is madness, but it's
now you have a you have a Stillman Sonder, like where it's now you have a 12-year or a 14-year or something like that, and it could be limited offerings. Is that kind of a play there or no?
I think, what we really want to do is we want to keep a consistent product on the shelf, right?
Okay.
And so like we want a 10-year, like Stillman's whiskey is 10 years old. Any whiskey that goes under the Stillman is going to be a 10-year age statement. And, if we put 11-year whiskey in there, we will, right? We want a 10-year age statement on the shelf all the time. And the goal is 6-7 years from now is we have our whiskey in there, our 29% bourbon, our 21% bourbon. The reason for both those being the 29, we ferment it in a way that brings a lot of fruit notes that can match this profile. And so the idea is to get to a point where we can use our own stocks in this product, but currently the way that the market is going, I can buy 21% rye whiskey from MGP a lot cheaper at 8 years old, cheaper than I can make it at 0 day old.
Yeah, especially with where it's going. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That
right now. Yeah, I'm just saying like right now. And truly, bro, that's another one of the conversations. We literally dude, let me show you. Literally in front of me at this desk. These are all medium toast char 3, medium toast char 3, medium. These are all Sonder barrels that we're talking about. These are bourbon barrels. And we just went through all of these things and culled the herd on double oaks of like what can't be blended into this profile and rehomed it. And now the discussion is, do we take that money from rehoming it, from selling it to somebody else and buying younger MGP to fill gaps in case our whiskey doesn't pan out? And that's the conversation we're having right now. That's why I say, man, I wish I could tell you. I wasn't trying to be jackass. I'm not going to tell you. Bro, I wish I could tell you what I'm going to do. I wish I could tell you. I think, but honestly, the best, you and my druthers, man, like me in heaven, like chilling with my grandpa, like heaven for me would be our whiskey is so popular that we make that we can't blend it off into Stillman's and that we have to source that. That would be heaven. Like if we had success like that. But the goal is to sell our whiskey. That's ours. And in order to introduce it to the world, we're using sourced whiskey.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a common play, right? I mean,
that's a very common play. Yeah,
you're not just taking that barrel, bottling it, right, and then just putting your label on it. You're doing something to it now. But the goal you're saying is, if I'm hearing you right, is that you want this to be eventually your product, 10 years old.
I mean, I would love that. I would love if my distillates, my oldest bourbon distillates that could qualify are 5 years old right now. If in 5 years they end up in a place where they could qualify for a brand that I think is this high quality, that would be stellar. Like that'd be awesome. As I mentioned, the only thing better would be if that whiskey was so good, I couldn't sell it as Sonder, and that's pie in the sky, really. But really, just thinking what I want to do with this business. We already sold our business. I got 4 kids under 5. I really like Wisconsin. I don't know if you can tell. I kind of fit into Wisconsin.
Yeah, you look great. You look Wisconsin.
I'm very comfortable here. I kind of look like a stick of butter, So
you like cheese?
I like one too. I love cheese. I love cheese curds. I love hunting.
Cheese curds.
I love dirt track racing. I don't want to leave. I'm not selling this place and going to Cozumel. This is my Cozumel.
You could get a Cozumel house and just kind of go back and forth.
You have plenty of lakes to put it on.
You mentioned private jets earlier.
You can't.
That was his grandfather.
You can't see it. But I am a ginger.
See,
so you can kind of see my fair skin, right? But I ain't doing much of the sun, dude. If you get a Cozumel house, I ain't coming.
Yeah, you're more of like a Canada guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we make Canadian style rye. That's why we're up here. So what I'm saying is, my goal is I want to be able to. My friends I've already got to move here. My college friends and my industry friends from Madison. I want to be able to keep employed, and so everything we've made. A lot of places, like, it's a complicated question to be like, what's the intention, Nick? Like, when do you want to cut 21 rye into yours? Because realistically, like, I don't want to do that. I want people to be so fucking crazy about our whiskey that we're not going to blend it off into Sonder. But that is true arrogance. Like, that is narcissism, at a different level. Every release we've ever done has had a single intention. And it's not maximizing
those bottles profits. Again, because we had a question about the Dazed and Confused one.
This is one of my favorites.
Dazed and Confused. Yeah, we had a question. I think you might have tuned off.
Finished in.
Yeah, Did I see that you had
Dude,
a
yes,
bourbon
it
now?
is. So, yes, we do. This isn't a bourbon. This is a corn whiskey. This one's 11 years old this year. This is distillery only. Sorry, guys. This thing kicks ass, dude. This is one of our lots. It's a unique to us. It was a lot of Kentucky has gone to MGP throughout the course of history to make up production lots at the end of the year. Somebody out of Kentucky that sells a shit ton of corn whiskey. Oh, I don't know who that would be. Who would not be able to make enough corn whiskey in Kentucky? Went to MGP and asked MGP to make them more corn whiskey. They bought their lots, and what MGP always does for big customers, they don't do this for little customers, is they do what's called an overrun, because the customer needs to end up with X amount of barrels, right? And so like they're not going to buy 500 barrels. We need to end up with 500 barrels. And so there might be, I don't know what the slush is, but let's call it 2%. They might overrun 2% for leakage and breaks and acts of God and evaporation, right? So that once they sell, so large lot had to be at least 10,000 for that to be, because we got a couple hundred of these barrels. 100% corn. MGP doesn't make 100% corn. Everyone thinks they do, but it's actually, if you go to the mash bill, it's 99.1 corn, 0.9 malted barley. So what we have is an overrun from somebody, and it's all in used cooperage. It's corn whiskey. It's absolutely stellar, like delicious stellar. The only problem with it, if you guys drink a lot of corn whiskey,
Not a ton.
yeah, not a lot of people have, because bourbon's so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so corn whiskey, at least 80% corn. It can't be less than 80, and then used cooperage is what the primary aging vessel has to be. And so otherwise it's a bourbon, right? Because it'd be 51% new wood would make it a bourbon.
Yeah.
Corn whiskey's much lighter. You've used that vessel has made something else and imparted tannin and vanillin and esters and aldehydes to another product. Usually we talk about an ex-bourbon barrel, you're talking 6 to 12 years, right? So corn whiskey barrel is depleted by the time you get it, and the grain is really the star. That doesn't mean it's grainy at 10 years old, but that just means it's very light. And so when we first got this inventory, it was what to do with it, because it just needed a little bit of tannic punch or anything to make it interesting. So the first thing we did with this is we finished it in brand new Spanish oak. That's our Spaniard product. So that product, we do it once a year. We've gotten four double golds in a row at San Francisco on that product.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing infused or something else?
No, it's called the Spaniard. It's the same inventory.
Spaniard.
line.
That's okay.
Yeah, the Spaniard. It's the same, but it's the same whiskey finish a different way. So that is our Spanish oak finish. This is a really fun finish we do with Woodford Reserve Double Oak bitters casks. So are you guys familiar with that product?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah, bro. Oh, usually up by like the cash register, they have a spiced cherry, chocolate, vanilla. They kick ass. Which one have you tried?
Oh gosh, a rep brought in several of them. So
yeah, they kick ass, dude. They're good. It's just a stellar product. It's a good product. Those are made in casks. So the company at Bourbon Barrel Foods makes those for Woodford. And I don't have an NDA with Woodford, so I'm doxing them. But we get these from a broker. Bourbon Barrel Foods is written on them, but you can see they're Woodford Reserve Double Oak barrels. You can tell from the codes on them. And this recipe, we also have a product called Swiss Misters, which is a rye finished in chocolate. That's coming out for OND this year. It kicks ass. But this one is our and the Spaniard inventory, that 100 corn is near and dear to my heart. It's almost depleted. So we'll only have a couple, maybe a year or two left of it. So this release is very special. But this was finished in the spiced cherry bitters from Woodford Reserve, Double Oak bitters. This is literally like candy corn in a glass. It is so good. Cinnamon, cinnamaldehyde, cream, vanilla. It tastes like a cow tail. It's so fucking good. And we did this.
What's the proof?
This year's 59.2%. So it's cat. We do cask strength. We do almost everything.
That's
cask
dangerous.
Strength.
Yeah, that's very dangerous.
If something isn't high proof from us, if something is double digits, we've proofed it down in cask intentionally for flavor reasons. Okay. And so everything that we do here in Sonder is a really good example of this. Is less than 100 milliliters a shot usually. I mean, it's crazy, very slow, every day, intentionally proofing, intentionally oxidizing spirits, and tasting them often, because that's the funnest part, But Maize and Confused, this is our Presents line. The Dancing Goat Presents line is a place that was created for me to have fun. I mentioned earlier we haven't made a lot of serious whiskeys before Sonder, and that's one of the reasons why Sonder's its own brand. Is we really want to make it a serious whiskey. These are places where I have fun, where I come in and taste whiskey with my friends and say, man, what if we put that motherfucker in that barrel right there? Try it, bitch. You know, and
that's your
so
blending coming in now.
It's good, yeah. And so it's called the Dancing Goat Presents series, and it's always limited releases, small releases, some 100 to 300 cases, single barrels. But if you ever see one of these, they're gnarly. They're gnarly.
That's distillery only, correct?
This one is distillery only. Do you guys do tastings at the distillery? Let me tell you about our experiences.
Well, real quick before you do that, hang on. I had a question here from Ray Cheshire. What do you pay for an overrun barrel from a distillery? He's not expecting an answer if you can't say it, but when you were talking about that.
Ray Cheshire, I like you, Ray. You're a good looking dude. Nice glass.
He's tuning in. He's a good listener of ours. It's morning time where he's at.
Ray, so you're abroad. Kiwana, friend.
Yeah, he's in Vietnam. So.
Oh, he's in Vietnam. I don't speak that, but hey.
He's from the UK. He speaks English.
Cool. Okay, then I'll speak English to him. Ray, I'm not going to go into our full acquisition cost, but I'm going to give you a really cool look into it. Okay, so one of the things that you could do is you go to White Dog Trading. You can see how much you could ask for a price list. You can see how much bourbon's trading for right now. You can get 8-year bourbon around $800, $1,000 if you buy enough barrels. The key to getting a good price in whiskey is buying a lot of it. One of the things about our whiskey inventory that I explained earlier is none of it is really traditional. So like even our bourbon is weird. It's ND and aged. Like, how is that still bourbon? Well, it's still an oak. You have to explain everything, man. And a lot of that is because we filled a lot of Canadian style whiskey. So our cost base is a little different because we start with a used cask, which is a tenth of the price of a brand new barrel. But we were the only people buying Canadian style whiskey from MGP, I think from 2012 to 2021. And so in 2020, 2021, my Uncle Barry called. He was working over at MGP and he's like, where's your dad at? I was like, fuck you, I ain't telling you. And he goes, where is he? He's across the table from me. So I put him on speaker and I go, he wasn't answering call. What do you want? And Barry goes, we want to sell you guys all of the Canadian style inventory that we have. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, you got to buy all of it, every single cask. You don't pick and choose. Tell us the price that you want for all of it. And I go, what's going on? And he said, no one else buys this stuff except you guys. We have a bunch of stuff in used cooperage that is overruns, that is test. We have a bunch of test lots we'll throw in there too. And so that's where we got a lot of our crazy whiskey, like this overrun, for example. We have a couple other ones that are really interesting. So we have a 21% rye bourbon that was made with their V yeast. A lot of people don't realize that that Four Roses and MGP's yeast programs coincide. They're identical. And so they just have different keys for them, but they use a lot of the same products. And so the V yeast is more leather, dark cherry, dark pitted fruits than stone fruits. Another one we have was one day a guy came in and he was dumping 8.5-year-old light whiskey. Really, that's expensive whiskey, right? He's got it in a tank. He goes to take a piss. This is in Lawrenceburg at MGP. Another motherfucker comes in, doesn't realize that tank is captive. He starts dumping ingredient bourbon into it. Do you guys know what ingredient bourbon is?
No. I don't.
6 month. Yeah. It's 6 month bourbon. I had a scratch in there. It's 6 month bourbon that
no, it's good delivery. Good delivery.
That you would use to make like vanilla extract. Okay. Bourbon, you'd use it as like in bourbon caramels, right? So like it's just barely bourbon, but it does have just like light notes of whiskey. Very popular in food and confection. So he dumped a bunch of that inside of, which is still bourbon. It's just 6 months old, into 8.5-year-old light whiskey. Obviously, someone got fired that day. That was a very expensive mistake. And what they decided to do is they put it into used barrels and they never did anything with it. We bought it 8 years later. And so that's something that we have now that's like, is it 16.5-year-old whiskey? Is it 8.5-year-old whiskey? And so that was truly a historic day at MGP, which was a big mistake. And we ended up buying it. And so we have a very low acquisition cost because we bought all of their dirty little secrets. No, I'm just kidding. But we bought a lot of inventory, thousands of barrels at once, where they were very motivated to get rid of. And our acquisition costs were very similar to the market currently. What I would say is that you will never be able to buy an overrun barrel from a distillery by asking for it. You would have to buy if you were at MGP looking for like what I'm talking about, like an orphan or an overrun, you would have to look for the most unique mash bills they have, because it's going to be something that isn't what they make currently. They used to make a ton of custom whiskey. They don't anymore. And then look where their stock price is. Wonder how good of a decision that was. Anyways, yeah, sorry guys, but
you can make something into so much better with that and make some. Yeah, I love that. I love that concept.
Well, and I think that goes back to, we're the Dancing Goat. We're goats. Life gives us a tin can. Let's make a fucking meal out of it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the attitude that we have around here. As long as my grandpa drank thousands and thousands of barrels of whiskey, he made hundreds of thousands of barrels of whiskey, spirits. My dad is overseeing the production of spirits. Sour apple. My dad invented sour apple pucker. Awesome story. I'd love to tell you that one. But he's been in product development forever, right? And one of the things that they both really just instilled and try to teach me and teach all of us here at the Dancing Goat is enjoy what you're doing. Like it's really cool, and do it together and taste it as much as you can, and make sure it's something worth giving to somebody that's valuable, and that's what we really truly try to do here as a team. And so when we have these really cool, unique whiskeys, if I was a better marketer, you'd know me by now. I would have sold a ton of whiskey, but I'm not. I'm a guy sitting here with my dad. He's celebrating his whiskey collection. The only difference is my dad's got a bunch of money from Ramchata, and his whiskey collection is now barrels and not bottles.
I hope you saw that up on the screen there. You saw it up on the screen.
I do. I appreciate that big time. Thank you guys, because that really, I got a lot of love for him, and just, I'm only talking to you guys because of him. And like people talk about you sit on the shoulders of giants, and like think about like my life, man. Like I got all these damn kids. I got my wife. I got all my friends here. I make whiskey every day. I make gin all the time, and I love it. I walk into our rick house, open air rick house, 5 stories. I smell Kentucky. It's unbelievable. But I look outside and I have the sunset of Wisconsin over rye fields. It's just beautiful. And then I pinch myself because it's all because of every bottle that we ever sold in every grocery store. I didn't grow up like a liquor magnate. You know what I mean? And so I grew up really lucky that my dad had a great job. And I got to do some really cool stuff from it. And then I really learned how lucky I was in my 20s.
Good for you, though, for taking that and bringing it to the next step, like learning from your father and your grandfather and being able to make your own kind of, like, I don't know, your niche or something like that. But like you're taking what you've been blessed with and you're trying to do something different every day, trying to improve, trying to make it. Good for you doing that. I think that's impressive, too.
Thank you. One of the things that I really want to do is like, I want to tell people my grandpa. And like, that's kind of like, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do here is like, I want this place to be around in 100 years, and I want my great grandkids to own it, and I want my grandpa to still be talked about. And like, I think that'd be a lot of work. That'd be really cool if I set it up like that and I got through it. But if I die and my kids tell the Galliano story once, or the chartreuse story is crazy. You got to ask my dad. I'm going to introduce my dad to you guys. You should ask my dad about the vodka story when he bought vodka. He bought a vodka brand for Jim Beam off of on a yacht. It's just nuts. And I'm just sitting here making whiskey, but like they have all these. My grandpa has this awesome story about him and Fred, not Fred Jr., but Fred at Beam, in a Waffle House with Leonard Skinner, and it's just all these crazy stories that are just so awesome. And I just want to give my dad the best last 20 years of his life, in a metaphorical but literal rocking chair, just telling those stories. And this is my time to do it.
You being the sponge that you seem to be on all that stuff. Obviously, Ray just made that nice comment. Seems like a very energetic, humble young man. The energy comes across, but it's like the spongeness, like you've absorbed all these stories, which anymore, it doesn't happen as much, listening to your parents, listening to your grandparents and all that stuff. I think there is that generational gap. I think a lot of times that kind of hinders that, but your energy and all the things you're spitting out all these things so fluidly that it's just, you've absorbed it so much. So if any of you said 4 kids, 5 kids,
Yeah,
I got 4 kids under 5.
4 kids under 5.
Yeah,
maybe
my
not
wife's
tell them all,
hot, so
maybe not tell them all the stories yet, but I mean, as they get older, if they've got any of the ability to retain information like you seem to have, and they start hanging around your facilities and everything like that, I don't think that's out of reach there if you want to do that.
I love, I got the hair standing up my damn arms. You said that. I fucking grew up in facilities. My grandfather. So, do you guys know what USDP is? In Princeton, Minnesota. Johnson Brothers. They're big. These motherfuckers. I love these guys. Made us a bunch of money. So they hired my grandpa in the 90s to build a plant in Princeton, Minnesota that could knock off anybody. And they built this giant place called USDP for Johnson Brothers. And he came in and kind of changed a bunch of stuff around. And my grandmother refused to move with him. She was up in Shawano. And she said, fuck no, I ain't going. You're supposed to be retired. I raised my family here. They speak Norwegian at the church. No, I'm not going with you. You go yourself. You don't want to quit work? Fine. You don't want to be retired with me? Fine. I'm sitting here. I'm feeding the Cardinals myself. Fuck you. And so he convinced them to build an apartment inside of the factory, dude. And so literally it was up in the air, up in the corner, and he could see the whole factory. And there was a couch in there. There was a kitchenette in there. And he lived there 5 days a week. And he would go home to get fish fry with my grandmother on Fridays. And dude, I'm telling you. And so I was in there. I remember I was in there. I slept overnight in there with him. And it was crazy how we wandering around the facility all night. He'd never sleep. He was a crazy old codgy old man. But he was just nuts, dude. He was crazy. And I literally, my dad tells a story all the time of he made his first batch of whiskey. I think he was like 7 years old or 9 years old. And Collingwood up in Canada. My grandpa was up there in Collingwood running the distillery. And they didn't have, my dad's old. Now, you ain't that old, Dad. I know you're watching. You ain't that old. But my dad, he old. They didn't have email when he was 7 years old. So they put his ass on a bike and they had him. This plant is like 9 city blocks, like miles long. And they had his ass on a bike taking memos all through the distillery. And so he brought a memo to the production floor. And the guy was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, hey, kid, you busy? He's like, no. He goes, get over here, dump this in. And he had him dump a bunch of cream and yeast. And he goes, congratulations, you made your first batch of whiskey. But I grew up in factories like this.
There were different child labor laws in Canada back then.
There's a different, people, he was a free range kid. So was I. So were all of you were probably as well. I'll tell you what, right now, I ain't letting my 5-year-old do with the shit I was doing. Hell, but also I don't think that minivans are absconding 5-year-olds at the rate, the same rate that they were back then. I think, right. It's just a different world now, right? But
it is.
We grew up in these facilities, and one of the things that somebody I'd like to thank, just as an opportunity while I have a voice, Ted Huber, Starlight. Thank you.
Starlight's great.
Dude, Ted's the fucking man. Ted is a mentor to me. He's a friend of my father's. They were on a board together, and he took the time out of his life and day to invite me to his distillery. Oh God, this was in 2015. I was with Christian, his son, the whole day, and his daughter. Christian was 13 at the time, I believe.
We've had Christian and his brother on before.
Christian is the shit, bro. I love Christian. So Christian was literally like 13 years old, and his brother wasn't even there. It was Christian, his sister, and they were taking me around. So I went there to learn to make brandy. And Ted took me through a distillation with them, did the cuts and everything. His kids are sitting there touching, they're doing the controls. Fucking nuts, dude. And beautiful. I'm saying that with so much honor. Like I pray my kids want to be in here. And then at the end, it's not even the end. We're in Hartscott. We're running. We're in this for 4 hours. And Ted's like, all right, I'm gonna go. I think they just gotten one of the food said like a funnel cake stand or something. Whatever they got, they got all that stuff out there. And he's working on it. And he's like, yeah, they're getting whatever you want to try, they can get you. And Christian's just kind of looking at me and he's like, what would you like to try? And I go, the oldest, best stuff you got. and he goes, okay. And we just start going and tasting all this stuff. And just the respect and the awe that they had as they're miners and they're thieving for me. Never once did they, never It never once. And they had so much respect for the fluid. They had so much. I learned so much from that 13-year-old about hospitality.
Real quick side story. We had them on, and they're 7th generation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the two brothers. Yeah, 2 brothers. We have another loyal listener that he listened to just the audio of this, and about halfway through the interview, we asked them their ages, and he texted me like, when he was listening to this audio, he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" They were like 20 something.
I think the youngest one was 25.
Yeah.
Christian was 27.
And he's like, "I'm listening to these guys the first half of the interview, and like, I'm thinking they're like, 40s and all that stuff, just because their knowledge and everything like that." But to your point,
well, and it's the soul in them. And the thing about spirit making is it's like spoken word story tradition, right? Like there's so much about it that you have to have been there and seen it and fixed it to know about it. And once you've done that, you always, like, if you've heard that story, you'll always know that story, right? And like it's like Beowulf. If you've gone through literature, there's trillions of rewritings of Beowulf, but it's always Beowulf, right?
Yeah.
A coming of age story, a Bildungsroman is always a Bildungsroman, right? And it's the same thing with like looking at being a spirit maker. Is there's a canon of experience. None of it is new. All of the problems that we have already happened. Stuck ferments, bad distillations, atmospheric pressures.
Dropping a lot.
Exactly. 100. Like that's so fucked up.
That happens all the time. It happens all the time.
And you know what he knew? He knew in that moment that the best way to teach me a lesson wasn't to fucking ride me out of town on a rail. It was to make me say, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
As I went to every store and got these, but you know what? I fixed it. And then he taught me the chemistry. And that's exactly what thank you, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that's tradition, right? And that's heritage. That's why things like being a no matters, right? Even though the no sold Jim Beam, it still matters that you have a no there. It really does. Because it's there's things that you learn from your father and your grandfather, but there's also things that they kind of just show you after they're dead, and I really do believe that, like, it's called spirits because it's in the realm of the spooky, man. There's weird stuff that happens around rick houses, around stills, around distilleries. There's lost souls and connections going on all the time, and it's beautiful. It really is. It's one thing that like people don't often think about is like this bourbon, the bourbon that you guys had, which I hope you guys enjoyed, right?
I am. I'm enjoying
it's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So like
good.
That is MGP 21% rye. Yeah, we waved a lot of wands at it, right? Like we put a couple finishes on it. We oxidized it intentionally. We let it stall at a certain proof for a long time in secondary maturation. But at the end of the day, that's a commodity bourbon, right? And what is commodity bourbon? Commodity bourbon is the ultimate celebration of agriculture for like 100%. Like we've taken, most like it's not like you're using a slush fund of corn from multiple years. You're using one harvest corn with one harvest rye on one day. And that atmospheric on that day was a specific pressure that impacted the distillation in this way. Every distillation is a miracle in a moment in time. And every barrel is a reflection of every 13 barrels in our rick house is a day of my life. It is. That's one production run. That's a day of my life. That's a day of sadness, of frustration, of happiness, of whatever. But that's like a 13 barrels of my life, and those barrels will be mine until they're my kids. And if they want them, if they deserve them, if I deserve it, because like, that's a privilege that I could waste all my money. My dad always says this, how you make a millionaire in the spirits business? Start with 3 million.
There you go.
It's not.
Start as a billionaire.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. It's not an easy business, and even with a lot of experience, I'm very lucky that I have my own production facility now, but I could end up working on someone else's production floor in 10 years.
Brother, I for my next vacation spot, I was thinking about going down to the islands or somewhere. I think I'm going to come to Madison.
Come here, bro. Do you like to hunt? Do you like to hunt at all?
I'd like to try it.
Okay,
I fish and I golf.
Okay, so you like to rip lips? You like bass at all? You like to get a little
fuck yeah, dude!
Dude, fucking let's go rip some lips, dog. Get you out here, dude.
I want to catch some muskie.
As you guys,
I want to catch muskie and
I
walleye.
need you to change those out for like meta glasses because I don't want to watch all this. This needs to be recorded live.
Dude, you're not coming?
Depends.
Come on, Daddy.
Dude, I'd
Bring
love
them
to go
big arms
fishing.
to Wisconsin, dude. Let's put a rifle in them arms. Get a coyote pelter on your shoulder, dude. I got a guy named Sean here. He's crazy. You guys can do pull-ups together. He's fucking great, dude. Get over here.
I'll come back with a beard and long hair like him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. This thing. Todd. Yeah.
Steve's big enough. You need to get a moose pelt on him.
Mm-hmm.
That is not legal in this state, but if we go to Canada, we might be able to do something about that. But you got to make sure the moose ain't wearing you instead, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Let's
know
go
what to talk
slow.
about
Let's go
anymore.
smaller cervix, dude. Maybe
Yeah.
get you a deer or something. You know,
Sure.
start with a deer. You going straight after. That's like a crackhead going after a copper factory. You know what I mean? It's like, man, just get some wire first. You know.
All right. We don't want to. I know you got the kids and everything. What does everyone want to? What are they going to see going forward with this brand? You talked about like trying to pass it along to your kids, hopefully someday. But what are we looking forward to? You're available in Wisconsin that we know of and online.
Yeah, available.
Expanding, like, what's the next 2 to 3 years looking like?
Man, I can answer that. So we just we launched California, so we are available in California with Stillman's.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, that was last year. End of last year we started doing that. We are looking at possibly getting rolling in Georgia. We are live in New York. We are selling New York, and we fucking love New York. Appreciate all you guys out there. Y'all kick ass. And I didn't think I was a New York boy. I didn't think I'd go well talking coyote hunting and ripping lips out there, you know, and like, yeah, but I was pretty popular. Not that popular though, wife. I'm still yours.
I can see that. I can see that.
And then, yeah, and so we're slow, you know, we are available in Illinois. Tenuous relationship with Benny's, you know, hope we can figure that out. But we have a lot of retailers that support us down in Illinois as well. Really what I would really love to see in the next 5 years is another expression of Stillman's coming out. And then as well, our own distillates coming out in their own package. So in their own standalone.
Yeah, that'll hit 10 years at that point.
Yeah, we make a lot of bourbon and a lot of rye. And what we do is we model a lot of our mash bills after old Seagram's mash bills. So and a lot of them are MGP mash bills. But I don't have unlike a lot of other whiskey distilleries, like I don't have a mash bill like that's going to be Dancing Goat whiskey. Like I don't have when people like tell me about your bourbon, I say which one, you know, because we make so many different mash bills of bourbon. But what I would really like to see is a well-aged blend of several different bourbons in the next 5 years. And so we make some of my favorites that we make 49 malt bourbon, 49 rye bourbon. We make a 29 rye bourbon that is absolutely stellar. Can't say it enough. Once a year we make blue corn bourbon. We usually do a corn whiskey as well as 49 malt out of that. Beyond that, we do a lot of contract manufacturing, mostly finishing and packaging for people. And so we work with other companies that want us to take their whiskey and get into glass for them, and a lot of rebarreling and stuff like that. We have a Gin Academy on site. If you guys like gin, we have a school that you can come and check out where you can take a 3-hour class. You can distill your own bottle of gin. You'll learn all about the history of gin, botanicals, their relationship with each other. It's sick. The experience that we have here, we're a little bit outside of town, and a lot of facilities like this, they would get about 90% of their revenue through a bar program. We didn't need to leverage a business like that because we had their Chata success. We wanted to really focus on learning how to make spirits because my grandpa was dying, you know. Right. So that's where I really wanted to dedicate my time to. And so our tasting room is a little bit different. We can't compete as a cocktail lounge with like regular bars because we're 30 minutes outside of Madison. Like we don't want people housing craft cocktails out here. What we've really focused on is education and connecting with consumers by connecting on the spirits, like what's in their glass, they can learn about it. So we do a lot of cocktail classes, whiskey tasting classes, gin classes. I said the Gin Academy is 15 stills in there. You can distill your own gin, leave with your own bottle. You're not making our gin, you're making your own. It's our experiences are I'm so proud of my team and what they've done with the experiences. It's really cool. And so would love to see any of you guys out there, anybody out there. Anytime.
It's only an 8-hour drive. It's not that bad.
You already checked it out.
And there's a ton of great bourbon on the way.
Already Google mapped it.
Bourbon on the way. Ton of great bourbon on the way.
Are you sticking around for part 2, or what's your plan here?
I'm getting a little late. I can do like 5 minutes.
Well,
all right. Or you want me to just back? You want me to just bail? Is it all?
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, we're gonna really talk about the cigar, and then we're gonna go into part 2 here. We got about an hour, so an hour of part 2. So I didn't know if you're gonna stick around for that, or
I won't be able to make it through an hour of part 2. I'm probably just gonna cut. Then I apologize.
No, it's fine. That's fine.
Hey guys, I really appreciate it. You guys fucking kick ass.
No, you kicked ass.
Yeah,
we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Again, want to thank Nick. Obviously, third generation. If you are just tuning in live, check out from the beginning for sure.
Yes.
We've got 2 great bottles on the table here tonight.
Yes.
His father here, I want to throw that up there because you said it's available on Amazon.
Amazon, baby. Wiley Publishing.
I had to find the picture here while you were talking here.
Dude, you kick ass. When you pulled that out, I was like, man, these guys kick ass.
So yeah, check that out as well. But the Maas family has all the history in the spirit world, and we appreciate you being on with us tonight.
I told you. Go ahead.
No,
I told you.
You.
I told you at the beginning. It's like, being a part of this is every other week we get to meet new people and try new products and stuff. And this is probably one of my favorite episodes, just based on who you are, and you just have a great spirit. You got a great just aura about you, and I think you selling is not a problem for this. I think you being who you are will sell bourbon, and anything you make, being you piss water for, like, you probably fucking sell it. So I think I'm so glad to be a part of this, to be able to get to know you, and I hope that down the road we can see you again. And
absolutely,
you never know. I may show up on an 8-hour drive one day at your door.
Please.
So, okay.
Well, I was going to ask, what do you guys smoke? Are you New World guys? Do you guys like the motherland?
No, yeah, we're New World. New World. I mean, Cuba's great, obviously, but yeah, I mean, we're based in the States. So Tinder Box at Easton, which is the shop that we're based out of. I mean, there's 500-600 SKUs, and all obviously no Cubans there. So smoking this tonight, with the Punch Rare Corojo. It's a 25th anniversary. It's all New World stuff. I had the opportunity to go to Cuba back in 2018, and it was a fantastic experience. Got out to the farms, met some of those guys, hung out at some of the like Partagas store, met some really good people out there.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I'm a big Partagas fan, New World and Motherland. I was gonna say, do you guys mind if I send you guys out some shit?
No, absolutely.
Please.
I have, dude. So 2020, I had a homie coming through Switzerland, and I had a feeling like shit was gonna hit the fan. And so I said to him, I was like, yo, I'm gonna send you a store. It's called an LCDS. You got to make sure you're in the right store. And I was like, they have these Lusitanias. I want you to buy me 2 boxes. If they don't say SOU 20 on them, I don't want them. And so he went through, and he had he hit me back. He's like, they got ABR, and I was like, nope. And then he's next to his ABR. I was like, nope. Next, and I see him to another LCDS. Thank God for this guy. He walks in, he goes, SOU 2020 Lusitanias. And I was like, yeah, how many boxes they got? And he goes, 2. I go, fucking buy them both. So I have 2 boxes of Lucy's.
Yeah.
About 6 months after this happened, my doctor was like, so what do you do in your free time? And I was like, bro, let me tell you what I like to do in my free time. I'm smoking cigs, I'm smoking cigars, I'm smoking brisket, and I'm fucking drinking bourbon. He's like, yeah, I can see that. And we got some blood work that we got to talk about. So I had to make a choice, and I gave up cigarettes, and it hurts, but it's the right, especially as a father. I quickly became a young father for that. Important not to be smoking cigarettes at home. The next year they said, you're still smoking something. I was like, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And they go, pick one. And I go, you're telling me to pick between the devil's lettuce and cigars? And they're like, pick. And so I picked the devil's lettuce. And so I went from like 6 a week. I try to do like 1 a day or 1 every other day, 5 or 6 a week, to like maybe once a quarter now. So I'm going to send you guys, I'll send you each a Lucy. And then I have a bunch of New Worlds that have been aging for 4 years in my Tupperware. And my thing is, I'm a dynamics guy. Like I love humidity and like aging. And so I would love to send you people that actually enjoy some SOU20s. I'm going to send them to you guys.
I'd say
Aaron's got the address if you want to.
Yeah, I'll get it from Aaron. And thank you guys. So Aaron kicks ass. If you guys ever need to fucking connect with awesome people, fucking talk to Aaron Brost. He's got your back.
He's amazing.
Yes, loving him. I love the guy. Love him. He actually worked with Beam with my dad like 25 years ago.
Now he's out in Cali.
Yeah, now he is now. Yeah, but when they were like a long time ago, when my dad, it's just crazy how the world works. You know, really cool.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, God bless you all. If that's your thing. If not, you're all fucking great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Nick, thank you so much, brother.
Cheers to you,
dude. You guys kick ass, dude. Thank you.
So do you, brother.
Enjoy the rest of it. CO Box and shared pour, or come and find Big Bad Brady in Cambridge. I love you guys. We'll be in touch.
All right, man. See you, man.
Thank you.
See you, buddy.
Love that.
I need him to be my motivational speaker every day.
Yeah, you need a wake up call, don't you?
I'm tired.
Awesome.
You're tired.
He's fucking awesome, man. I may fucking show up on his door one day. You know, I don't know. I want to go be hanging out with him for a day.
All right, that was a long part one, which is great because he was a wealth of information, obviously, and
super energetic.
Super energetic. I think there's a lot of people that are listening right now that may be a little bit need to take like a breather. But
Nate,
I haven't said anything yet today, and I need to take a breather.
When Nate doesn't have any questions or can get it, any word in.
Oh, I couldn't get anything.
I tried to I tried to.
You barely could. Sean could.
Yeah,
hardly. I was like, I'm not even gonna fucking try.
I do want to. Well, go ahead.
No, it's just go ahead and say what you. It's just a funny thing my wife said about the bottle.
Oh yeah. Go ahead because I want to talk about the cigar and then we'll just put it into part two.
So I sent her a picture and said, that's funny. It's the Goat Distillery, and we always Dancing Goat. Sorry, and we always joke about the Mark Wahlberg from SNL, and he's like, "Hey, Goat, like your beard, Goat." So I was like, "Hey, Goat, like your bourbon. Say hello to your mother for me."
Love it.
And she goes, "Missed opportunity. Call it just the Goat Distillery, and then the name of the bourbon. Say hello to your mother for me."
You know what? If he's got Amazing Confused one, he probably could do that.
He could, man. It's fucking good idea, Teresa.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Just we always focus on the guest, right? So we didn't really talk a whole lot about the cigar, even though I think he would have been into it a little bit. But this is the Punch Rare Corojo. This is the 25th anniversary. A lot of times with an anniversary cigar, it's a limited production one, but this one is not. This is going to be a regular production cigar.
Nice.
One of the jokes that I always had about the Rare Corojo from Punch is that you look at the blend and it doesn't say anything about Corojo, so it's so rare that it's not even a cigar. But I think there is allegedly some in there, but they never, like they say Rare Corojo on the normal description of that, and there's just never any mention of Corojo tobacco on that, the description of it. So this is something that we were smoking. It had a little bit more kick than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I've not smoked this
especially through the nose.
Yep, retro
right?
for sure.
So,
It definitely has more body on the palate than the regular Rare Corojo. But there's so much spice through the nose.
Yep. It's a kick. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it went well with those.
Yep.
Just based on time, we don't even have to do ratings unless you guys want to spit them out. But I think
I'll just say real quick that I noticed when I had a sip of the bourbon whiskey first.
The bourbon or the single malt?
Sorry, the bourbon.
Okay.
And I it kind of tamed the retrohale a little bit, and I actually found more of the flavor of the retrohale a little more dominant.
I think this cigar with the single malt, there was a lot of spice coming through for me.
Yeah,
a lot of punch there. This one, on the other hand, this is wrapper. It's all Honduran. This is a Honduran Puro. So the wrapper is Corojo, the binder is Corojo, the filler is Corojo and Habano. So
they're finally
this is
using
not as rare in the blend. It might be rare Corojo.
They're finally using some Corojo in the cigar.
So quite different than the original makeup, but this is available. Tinder Box is not carried at this time, but just so you guys have a little bit of information about it, I want to show you guys.
Sure.
It only comes in this size that we smoked tonight, the 6x54 Toro.
Yep.
10 cigars in a box. The MSRP guess for 25th anniversary.
This is
coming out of the Aladino factory, which is going to be the Aroa, not Christian, but his father and brother. Yeah.
Is it? You said it was how many in a box?
10. 10 count box. But you're just trying to guess the MSRP on the cigar itself.
Yeah.
Oh, the MSR. I'm going to go with. They're always cheaper, so I'm going to.
Punch is a little bit lower.
I would go 9.
Okay.
So the Rare Corojo Tinder Box has on the shelf right now, I believe, is $12.95. So for the 25th anniversary, I'm going to up it $1 or $2.
MSRP is $10.99.
God damn it!
Wow,
I went the wrong way.
That smoked really well for a $11 cigar.
Well, and there was a while there, I didn't know if we were going to get to the cigar, so I actually set the cigar down about halfway through, and then just didn't smoke it for a while Nick was talking. So,
well, I was impressed. It's not as dark as that picture that's on the screen. That is a picture I just pulled off the internet there. So, I mean, it's not as dark as that. It's definitely kind of more of a Colorado shade. It's a medium brown. But yeah, I just wanted to at least highlight this, you know what I mean? Because it was I enjoyed the cigar. I enjoyed it more with the bourbon than I did the single malt. But I'm now interested to go back to the single malt with this Profundo. If you guys, I don't know if you read the description tonight, but
second prime
topic, your second prime.
Like Optimus?
Could be. If you're a Transformer or a Decepticon.
Robots in disguise.
So I'm lost here. What is
your second prime? Everyone talks about their prime, your day.
Oh, back in the day. Okay,
Yeah.
Got it.
So, there's this whole thing, as you get older, is that you're not in your glory days, right? You're not in your prime anymore,
right?
But there is this kind of, I would say, almost movement that as you get older and you're say 40s, 50s, and beyond, at some point is there a second prime?
Yeah. Yep. There is. Would you like me to share that?
You can.
Or do you want to wait?
No, go ahead. Yeah, no.
I didn't want to interrupt.
What's your initial response to that?
My initial response to it,
second prime.
It would probably be golf for me.
Okay.
Because I grew up playing soccer my whole life. That was probably my prime, and played, high school, college, semi-pro, I guess you could call it, and learned to golf in my mid-20s. And once I lost my peripheral vision from the brain tumor, soccer was pretty much a done deal. I couldn't go any further with it and be as competitive, because you need that as to play. So I got more focused on golf, and I think at my second prime as golf would probably be back when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I was probably down to
that was your second prime.
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
So you're saying, all right, so what age?
Late 20s, early 30s.
What age would you say you were in your prime?
Probably 24 to 27.
In golf or in soccer?
Oh, that was soccer.
Just in general.
Oh, soccer usually, but golf was starting to become like rising up to that level, because I had a good friend who was a pro, and he taught me when I first started, and kind of guided me to be able to play at a more competitive level. And I think by the time I was at my peak with the second prime, was probably my early 30s. And yeah, I lost my periph, but it also helped me. I mean, it does suck reading green sometimes, but I was probably a 3 to 5 handicap at that point.
Yeah.
Now I don't give a shit, but I have more fun playing because I don't give a shit. So,
all right, Nate, what age would you say you were at your prime?
I would say my mid 20s.
Okay.
Because at that point, I was still pretty active. When Jess and I first started dating, I was actually in an ultimate Frisbee league.
Okay.
And I mean, because I could sit there and chuck that thing all the way down the field. But then also, because of when I played football as a wide receiver, I was really good at the jump balls, downfield jump
frisbees.
Yeah.
Well, there's no
jump disc,
no balls,
whatever. But no, like that transitioned into that sport because being able to go for it at its highest point, or to be able to read where the path was going, to be able to deflect, like stuff like that. And then I was going to the OSU RPAC, which is the largest indoor student recreational facility in the country.
Yeah.
I was going there and I was playing. This is probably when I was, I was in my mid-20s. I was playing racquetball a couple times a week, and I'd sit there. I'd be in the court for 3 hours, and I could sit there and I definitely went to school. There was a guy in there who was just randomly hitting the ball by himself, and I was like, "Hey, I'm by myself. You want to play?" He goes, "Well, I'm really good," and this guy was probably 50.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm pretty good." I'm like, "That's fine." Like, okay, cool.
Oh God.
Oh,
this is going.
Oh yeah. So apparently, like 10 years earlier, this guy was ranked in the top 20 in the world in racquetball.
Holy shit!
In his prime.
In his well, that may have been his second prime because he would have been about 40 at that point. But holy shit, he mopped the floor with me. But it was still fun.
Yeah.
I never scored maybe more than 5 points against him, but it was a hell of a lot of fun.
I'm guessing he's good at positioning the ball to where you could never get it.
So when I first started racquetball, like that was the hardest thing. I was young, I was energetic, I could run for hours, and I could just sit there and beat the living shit out of the ball. But if I went up against someone early on who was better at placing shots, they'd absolutely kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd sit there and just whack the hell out of the ball and run all over the place, but then they would just hit those smart shots that I couldn't get to.
Yeah.
Once I then got to the point where I could hit those shots, but with power and cover the amount of room I could, there was a lot of people that stopped playing against me. But yeah, that's what I would say is my prime is that 24 to 28 range.
Okay. You got Ray.
I love this.
You go ahead with that.
Yeah, he says, I'd agree with Sean. 24 plus, I was at my prime. That's when I first moved overseas and I was killing it, working my ass off. And the gym when I wasn't working, which wasn't that often, and making money I couldn't spend. Now, did you play, Ray, you can answer me this. Did you play any soccer, football? I could see you being... You know what? I think you need to share a photo of you back in that age and share it with us to see. I want to see a buff Ray Cheshire. He's probably buff fucking now. I mean, he's seemed pretty fit to me when I saw him a few years ago. So I want to see a buff photo, maybe shirtless. See if you got any abs.
What are you asking for?
To see he's working out every day. I want to see what he's made of. To see if I could have hung with him if we were the same age at that time.
I know when I was a senior in high school, I felt like that was my prime. Because then I was captain of the football team. After my freshman year of college, so everyone jokes about the freshman 15.
Sure.
And I played football. Our school was small enough. We actually had a JV because we were Division III.
Sure.
We had a JV football team. But after that season, freshman 15 wasn't a thing. For me, it was like the freshman 30. So my first day on campus, I weighed in at 185 pounds. And then my sophomore year, I think I clocked in, I think I was about 210.
Nice.
And no, it was not. I
thought you were lifting and gaining muscle.
No. So, my first couple of years on campus, I had the meal pass that included every meal, right? So I just go to the cafeteria and eat. And then I had started a job that first summer out of college, and I quit 2 weeks later because the owner of the business was having his drugs delivered at the business. So I quit.
Yeah.
And then I got a job at the State House because a friend of mine was actually the chief of staff for a state representative. And I was working at the State House, and it was 20 hours a week. But I used to, that was when I think it was either Mountain Dew Code Red or the Mountain Dew Orange first came out. And I used to keep a 2-liter in my desk.
Jesus, dude.
And
was it at least diet or no?
No, they didn't have a diet version of that thing back then. And I was going through at least a 2 liter a week of pop. And so that's part of the reason why I got fat.
Gotcha.
Once I went back to school, like I kind of got back into things and stopped doing that stuff and became a little bit more active. But I still don't think I was as active in college as I was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
So that's why I consider my mid-20s to be more my prime.
So I don't like to talk about it too much because the topic's brought up. I brought it up a little bit, but when I was playing soccer in college and then played soccer in, open men's leagues, ex-pros, ex-college players, it was real competitive. And at the same time, I was coaching high school soccer for 3 years. So every time I would practice, we had practice with my team, I would be playing, doing every drill with them. And I remember my skills just rocketed because of playing every day. And it was right about the time the MLS started. And I was told by quite a few people that I should try out for the MLS. And I don't like to brag like that shit much, but I did.
You should.
I probably could have, but I enjoyed coaching more. And especially after I lost my peripheral vision, that was my outlet to be able to still be a part of soccer or football, to coach. Because for me, I could almost say that's a second prime too, because that took me to a different level where I cared about my players. I love to watch them grow as the seasons progress. I love to watch them grow as, over the years, and then to look back on some of these guys that are adults and have kids and to see where they are now. I'm not saying I made that big of an impact, but
I'm sure you did though.
But it felt like, it was like one of your kids and you're proud of them. And I've told this story. I don't know if I've shared it here, but one of the kids I coached for 3 years at St. Charles in my high school, years later, when he was probably in his mid-20s, he walked the Appalachian Trail from like Georgia all the way up to Maine, did the whole thing in a pretty fast time. And there was a news or magazine article about him. So I'd reached out and I was like, dude, I'm so proud of you. That's really amazing. Like most people couldn't even think of doing something like that. And he's like, and all my players that I've coached, even in their 40s now, they still call me coach. But he was like, Coach, you have no idea how much you're in my head when I did that, because there's a lot of times I wanted to quit, but because you motivated me in a certain way and pushed me, I was able to finish. Now, by that time, after I got that email, I cried for about 20 minutes, but that's the part of coaching I love the most, is watching these kids grow and seeing how they improve. And if I'm just a small part in their life to be able to, make a change for the better, that's what it's all about. So I really appreciate that probably more than anything. Like maybe playing MLS or whatever, coaching to me was probably my favorite thing I've ever done. If I can make a living, and I was thinking about trying to make a living out of it, but it's difficult. But to do that and have the opportunity to see these kids grow now and see where they are now, it makes me kind of like a proud dad at a very small scale. So
no, it's amazing. I mean, I still have, a friend's dad. He just had a birthday. He was a coach in Little League, of us. And to this day, I still call him coach.
I love it.
I mean, that's just how that works. Yeah. I think. Why is it, I know Ray, I'm sorry I missed a little bit of that conversation there, but Ray, he talked about, work in the gym when he wasn't working, which was not that often, making money like I had up on the screen there. You guys immediately went to your prime was when you were playing sports. Is that a prime?
For us, for me?
Yeah, I mean, like, it is, but I mean, like, if I were to say, rephrase the question, other than
sports.
Well, yeah. What was your first prime?
Right?
It's different.
It's a good,
I think this is a mentality
thing.
It's a
good point.
We hang out in the cigar shop a lot, right? And there's this whole thing, and in no disrespect, we all had that, that was our life, right?
Sure.
Not everyone did, but I mean, a lot of people did, whether it be a hobby, whether it be, a sport they played or whatever, especially here in this country. Is like, you get a bunch of guys, middle-aged guys or older, in a cigar shop talking about, and someone starts talking about, like, well, back in my day, like their prime was like, and we joke about, you put on, what is it, Bruce Springsteen, Glory Days, and playing that song. And again, no disrespect, but it's like, there are different primes, and like there are primes in different aspects of your life, and that's kind of the part of this, right? Is that immediately you both went to sports, physical activity,
I just
which I think is
Sean.
a big, and that's fine. I mean, I think there is that part of it. Is three of us on this panel, right? And predominantly there are male listeners, but we also have few. I know Kristen's watching, or she was watching. And it's like she was, a very competitive swimmer. You know what I mean?
Saw that in the Dominican. She's badass. Yeah.
Saved your goggles.
Dropped my goggles and she drove 20 feet like it was fucking nothing.
What was that movie? Into the Blue, right? She just went right down in there. Yeah. Why is it that we go straight to the physical side of it?
It's a good question. I feel like for the physical side of things,
it's easy to go to that.
Especially now as you get older, and the way
body doesn't function the same way,
but also the way life is now with weight loss, and you got to be fit, and then that's like a big thing.
Always been that.
Yeah, and I guess I took it for granted when I was younger because it wasn't a big deal. But when I got older, like you said, it's like I would say almost my prime now would probably be just being in this community, because I've met so many amazing people, had so many good conversations. Hell, I'm friends with a guy that's halfway across the world, or opposite side of the world. I love Ray, and I love being able to meet people like him, being able to reunite with him, through the Smoking 10 event. But then like I'm playing golf with Ryan Newman.
Yeah.
Like I knew him and we got along, but like we really kind of connected by doing that more. So it's just developing all these relationships with all these people really kind of allowed me to, be vulnerable and know that there wasn't any judgment. Yeah, give me shit for things, but but case in point, not everybody knew this, but I was at the hospital last week for heart problems. Thought it was a heart problem. I had pains in my chest, upper respiratory, like I had problems breathing, pain in my left arm. I thought for sure, here we go again. And turns out it was probably just stress and maybe anxiety. And somebody made the comment, was like, weren't you always doing this, like working nonstop, working crazy hours? Yeah. My one friend's like, yeah, but you're not that young anymore. Now you're 55 trying to do the same shit, and it'll catch up to you quicker. So allowing me to kind of open my eyes to that, like, okay, well, this is a good reminder. I actually have a better outlook now when I go to my work, and
good.
I'm starting to think about taking more breaks and leaving when I want to, because it's all a work in progress. But but I think a lot of that, the help for me to get through that shit was from you guys and Ray. And again, I apologize. He sent me a message. I didn't say anything back, but I haven't had
He's
time.
not the best at that, Ray. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. And it goes back to me working crazy shit, but I'm trying to work on that so I can spend more time being available to be able to respond to people. But no, I think that's, I guess, my current prime. I know you asked for second prime, but this is more deep for me. It's more of a, it hits my soul harder than like soccer or any of that sports shit. And knowing that the people that I care about, that care about me, because I've always been that, don't worry about me. But man, you guys this week we've been all reaching out, and I can't thank you guys enough. So,
well, yeah. Anyone that's met you cares about you. That's for sure. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, and anyone listening, Ray included out there. So second prime, a lot of times for me is not necessarily, that's what was interesting. Like you went from your, when you were playing to coaching, it's like, it's interesting because it's not always a second prime, but it could be a third or fourth, whatever, however you categorize it. But that is like what you were just talking about. I think this is relevant. What keeps people from having a second prime later in life, is it getting comfortable? Is it routine? Is it work beating you down? Relationships becoming automatic? I think a lot of these things are the classic, if you will, midlife crisis.
Sure.
Or you've been in the same relationship, same job, you've been whatever it might be. One of the things that stands out for me, and I'll let you guys kind of answer that, is that, based on what you're saying, is that when you both went to, and Ray went to work, if you will, right? And he also was talking about the gym, is that you had outlets outside of those things, that you had the hobbies, you had the healthy alone time. You had the healthy, maybe even with a partner or with people from work or whatever it might be. But it's like, is it the fact that you just let time start just sliding that you don't have these things?
I think there's an element with any of those. There's an element of complacency that kicks in.
Yeah, getting comfortable right off the rip.
Because if you start a new job or you start a new relationship or a new routine, like there's an excitement there because it's something new. You put a lot of energy in it. You want to be successful at it.
Congratulations on the new job, by the way.
Yeah,
thank you. Like you want to go all in. Sometimes just because you're excited, you want to go all in. Sometimes because you want to prove yourself in a new, new industry or something, and you go all in, and then, you initially have those kind of highs from those quick successes and,
sure.
Early compliments and stuff like that. But then after a while, it becomes that, now things are just, I'm going to work.
Time to make the donuts.
You start looking at it less.
By the way,
you start looking at it less from, I'm really excited to get to do this, to more, all right, this is what I got to do.
Yep.
Like, it becomes less excitement.
Why?
Well, because I think after a while, the excitement of that new thing wears off.
I'll be the 6-year-old in the room. Why?
Love it. Bring it back to Molly when they're young.
Because I think in a lot of times,
isn't it funny how you make statements that are like actually like you great point, but if you 6-year-old, why
is you can never answer,
right?
You can never answer why, and
because after a while it just feels like you're doing the same thing, whether it be work or relationship, it just feels like you're doing the exact same thing over and over, and there's no necessarily change. There's no new excitement coming in, and so now you just sit. I think it's easier with careers.
Well, Ray's got a point there in response to your second right here. Like I think I've had numerous primes. Maybe my lifestyle is quite different with all the moves I've made.
Sure,
I honestly feel like I've had more than one life at times. And,
I agree.
For him. He has moved all over the world. I know rattling it off for me, it'd be for him, it was the UK, obviously, where he was born and raised. I believe it was Mexico next for work. Then it was here in this area in Ohio. After that, it was in Hong Kong, and then now it's Vietnam. He's also, he had a life in a sense here. He was married, has a great daughter that's now in her 20s, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ray, maybe older. And now then he moved to Hong Kong for work, and then he met Jane, and now he's married, and you see it. You just celebrated his 60th birthday.
Yep.
And now he's living in Vietnam. So, I mean, that is a point for you, Nate, that he has this different life, as far as that path where he's had a lot of newness, not without necessarily, I'm not going to speak to him, but I mean, with those situations, it's not always with the best intentions on the path. It's a rerouting, if you will.
Sure.
Right? It's rerouting. So he has that newness to a point that you're saying you may not have all the time.
Yeah. So I think that's what makes it hard for,
harder
because
for
like for Ray, he would work with a place or live in a place, and then he would move somewhere else. So there's that excitement. It's fresh. It's new. So because it's a new environment, even if you moved to another state and you were still with the same company, like there's still an excitement because you're in a new territory, you're in a new area. There's a chance to make new connections, new friends, stuff like that. I think, for example, like my dad worked for the same company from the time he was 18 until he was 55.
Mm-hmm.
He lived, in Columbus or, Columbus suburbs the whole time. He had the same core group of friends from the time he was in high school until even still today. Like the ones that he was friends with 40 years ago, he's still friends with those guys. The ones that are still alive, he's still friends with those people.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been something really new in that realm.
Has he expressed anything? No, not to get personal, but has he expressed any of that, like, kind of status quo feeling?
Oh, there were times definitely growing up where, I remember there were times where, every day, it's just same old thing, whether it be same old route, even if he got a new route, it was probably a month later that he's right back in that same mindset of like, all right, same people, same building, same offices. Yeah. Like you just do the job, do the route. It's the same thing day in, day out. Because the newness wore off. And so I think that's where people struggle, is like trying to keep that excitement and that energy over time.
So there's right there, and then Sean, I don't know if you're building up here, but right there.
Yes.
The topic being second prime. We've talked about it before on the podcast part 2, where it's like, obviously you get a lot of attention from people that are important to you. Other people that when things have gone bad, when things are going well, if it is your prime, do you realize it is your prime? You know what I mean? Like things are going so well, or things like they can be stagnant. Like you're talking about your dad.
Yeah.
Steady. Like you talk about that, right? Maybe not the kids this day and age, but it's like, you have steady job, you have steady family, you have steady this, you have steady that. Like, can that be a prime? And can it last that long? Or is it the fact that you don't even realize it at the time?
I think the one thing all of us in general, is when you get stuck in a rut or do the same, is finding a way to find other things to do outside your job where it gets you something to look forward to, like, or you find a routine outside, like when you're done, maybe walking, or I don't know, playing golf, I don't know, hitting golf balls, whatever. But it's like trying to find another avenue to break up the monotony of the work. So when you get done, there's something else different that you can try or do to take you out of the routine. Because for me, the last 6 months, it's been like, I come home, I'm fucking drained.
Right.
I just fucking disconnect with everyone and stare at a TV or my phone. Go ahead.
When you were in your prime, did you realize it at the time, or is this something you look back at?
Something I look back at,
right?
Because I was just the same way with, what Nate's saying, for years, and I, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but like going through all the shit I went through this week, and seeing a counselor and stuff, it's like for once, and this is the first time I felt today in years, it's like I'm getting more energy to, like, I'm starting to be more aware of how I'm feeling and with my job, and being like, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to leave at a certain time. I'm going to sleep better. So now when I come home, I've got more energy. I walk the dogs, mow the yard. Yeah, it's redundant. It's shit you got to do, but at least I'm not vegging out as soon as I get home. It's something to do to get your heart working, and just to switch things up. And that creates more opportunities down the road to do even more things. And I think that's where I'm kind of sitting right now.
When you were in your prime, athletically or otherwise, did you feel that's like Sean or Nate or anyone listening, Ray out there? I know this is a little later because it's already 10 here this time, but I know it's early for Ray. But did you have a similar feeling like you're in a rut, or was it still exciting? Is that an age thing? Is that an excitement thing? Was it still new? Because I feel like if you guys, especially like, Sean, you're talking about like your athletic career, it's like you played soccer for a long time.
For over 30 years.
Yeah. So that's longer than any job you've had.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if that at that time is a little bit of your prime, right? When you don't realize you're in it, like I'm trying to like change that mentality.
Sure.
There. It's like when things are going well, you didn't realize it when it was going that well, if you will. It was just life. So what's the pivot? What's the shift there?
Something to look.
Is it something that you're not happy with, or is it something that you just feel like you're not the original prime? You know what I mean? Like you're not your younger self. You're not playing soccer anymore. And this is a metaphorical thing for other listeners out there, but you're not in your 20s anymore.
I think
what's the issue, and why is there this midlife crisis type stereotype where you're working a job? Nate, you talk about it. You talked about it tonight. You talked about it before with your dad. He worked the same job for 30 some years, and he did all that stuff. It's like 30 years in your earlier ages playing soccer, Sean, And then you have Nate, your dad, if you will. And I know he's not here. I'm not trying to pick on you guys, or not pick on, but like point it just to you guys.
No, I agree.
In a ideology standpoint, you have 30 years in a job that you're good at, and you're providing for yourself and your family. Like, is it a mindset thing? Is it an excitement thing? Is it an age thing? What is that?
Part of it's like we're younger when I would work, and so remember how old you are and whatever job you're doing in your 20s, you obviously had more energy. And for me, the biggest thing for me is to be able to have something to look forward to, knowing that I'm going through this shit right now. Maybe it's a horrible day, but knowing like when I was younger, like, oh, I have a soccer game tonight. Or
you had bad games though, right?
Huh?
You had bad games.
Yeah.
You had bad nights. You went home upset.
I did when I was a little younger, but when I
that good.
But when I was in my prime playing soccer, like if I had a bad game, that part I didn't beat myself up over. When I played goalie, I used to get really upset over it because I feel like I let the team down, think it's scored on, but it's a whole different thing. But it's knowing you have something outside your job that you can look forward to. I think for me, that was my motivator, to be able to get through my job and be like a little more upbeat about it. It's like, hey, I'm going to play soccer. I'm going to play some golf. I'm going to go out, blah, blah, blah. Now, when you're older, obviously you're limited to what you can do. So
why? 6-year-old.
Because, well, playing soccer is pretty much not a thing, but why
do you have less things to look forward to?
Well, now it's just because
responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Okay. No, it's fine.
And I apologize, Steve. We've been fucking ranting and raving. I want to hear about you. I want to hear what you have to say about this. What was your prime? What was your second prime? I apologize for not letting you talk.
No. I really, looking back, I don't know if I look at things differently, but it's like, it's different every stage of your life. The good times are the primes, right? For me.
Yeah. I agree.
I wasn't I was athletic. I never played at a high level. I had some skills and I just didn't apply myself, but I enjoyed, high school for the most part. College, I really enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
My 20s were going through a check things off a list thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
When I got married and bought a house and I got married and all that stuff. And it was good. It was good at the time. It just wasn't necessarily something that worked out for me. But I look back at that, and at that time I felt like I was at that time I thought it was in my prime. Looking back, I would not, and no disrespect to my ex or any of my friends back then or my job. It was just like, that was like what life was at that time. As years passed and all that stuff, going through different things. The second prime thing for me, and not to get into closing remarks quite yet, but it was like, I don't know when my first prime was, because it's gotten, the growth of my life has really built upon itself to the fact that I think I'm living my prime right now.
I agree.
And it doesn't mean that I didn't at the time have feelings that I was living my prime at different times. And that's not to belittle my life right now and my marriage and my career and everything like that. But it's like, it's so funny to really look at things of, the glory days. It's like, yeah, I loved playing baseball. I wish I was better at basketball. I blame the Cubs being not as good and the Bulls being really good growing up. I wanted to be like Mike, and
sure,
5'10" white kid that can't jump very high is not really a recipe for success, in the NBA. Sure, it's not. Wasn't even that good of a shooter. I could dribble and pass really well. Should have tried to be like Stockton or something. You know what I mean?
Or Jason Williams.
Yeah, right. Well,
he's amazing.
Not that athletic. He didn't exist back then. But yeah, it's like for me, this stuff, what keeps people from being in the second prime, getting comfortable, routine, work beating you down, relationships becoming automatic.
Sure.
I've had all of those things.
Yep.
That's why I'm using you guys in a sense to say, sounding board, not because I'm in a bad place now, but looking back is like, I think about those things. And if someone asked me those questions back in my late 20s, my 30s and all that stuff, it's like, it might have been different conversation.
Of course.
You know, these are the questions that need to, you know, work beating you down, work beats everyone down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to all the levels that, you know, I'm not an ER surgeon, you know what I mean? I sell cigars and I was in the moving industry before that. Routine, always, you know, that's something that routine can be good, but if it's a bad routine, it can be bad. It can really just take you down, and it can really lead you down a complacency, as you said it, Nate, you know, rabbit hole of the fact that you just go in. All I feel like I do is like wake up, I go to work, I come home, I eat, I watch TV, go to bed, I work, you know, like it's just boom, boom, boom. And then it's like the weekend comes, you don't even know what to fucking do with yourself. You know what I mean? Because actually, you know, when you're working on the typical, not anymore, I think the typical is now you're working more, but a lot of times still the typical is going to be you work 5 days, you have 2 days off, whether or not they're back to back, whether it's Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, you don't even know what to do with yourself when you have time off. But when you were younger playing soccer,
you wanted something to do.
I mean, but like that was your thing. You had other things that were filling in your time when you weren't doing what you're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
Relationships the same way, becoming automatic. That's a complacency thing. That's going to be something that I feel as though all of these things take effort. So when you were in your prime and you guys both went to the athletic side of things, is that what did you do? You put effort towards that.
Sure.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of these things, getting comfortable, routine, work, relationships, like all of those things. And I am not an expert on any of this stuff, but when I was looking at some of this stuff, talking about your second prime, because there is something in your 40s, 50s, 60s, no matter, it's never too late to have a true, like, like you are putting effort towards, I am not going to just wait to die. I am going to make the most I can out of this. And what do I want out of it? You don't let life necessarily dictate what you do on a daily basis and where you're going toward, you know, in the future.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I think what happens, to us, and I don't think anyone can really pinpoint an exact moment that this happens, but I think the issue a lot of people have is at some point there is a transition from the excitement of I get to do this, whatever it is, I get to do this, I get to come home to this person, or I get to go to this job. And then somehow along the way, it transitions to, I have to go to work. I have to go do this job.
What's the transition?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that transition happens somewhere along that line, I think, for most people. I don't know that any of us could really pinpoint an exact moment in time that happens. I think it is a gradual change over time.
Two sides of that, in my opinion. Talk about work, talk about relationships. I would say that pivotal moment, there can be a lot of things, but I think one of the most common pivotal moment, and it's never, I don't know what the cause is of it, but it's the moment that you feel like you are not valued.
Yep.
That's the moment. And it could be something you did. You could have not valued the job. You could have not valued the partner. You could have not valued some, you know, like it's.
Or they not value you.
Oh, I'm saying like it could be all of that.
Yeah.
There's not, like, I don't know what the cause and effect is, but that's typically, I think that's usually when you get in that moment that you're talking about. It's like you feel as though that you are no longer valued. So now you have to go to work for a paycheck. You have to go home to your significant other. You have to do whatever it might be because you don't feel valued anymore. Could be something you did. You might not. They might have been feeling that same way. Your employer, your significant other. It could all. Who knows what starts it? But typically, once one side of that, like one party of that relationship, whether it be professional or personal, when that happens on one side, typically that is a snowball effect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there is the moment that there is a lack of effort to embrace the, as you said, Nate, I get to.
Yeah.
I get to go to this job. I get to work for these people. If you're at the top, I get to go to work to give these people the employment and give them the opportunity. I get to go home to my significant other. I get to wake up next to my significant other. I get to raise my kids. It's not the opportunity becomes a responsibility, then becomes a burden.
Yep. But I think all of this though is we're all going to be in ruts where we get that way, right? And
Absolutely.
over the years, you go through that. You're going to have moments where it's going to shift and things could be better. But I try to look back at all the shit, all the times I've been down or whatever, and try to learn from those. And I think you're a good example. You went through a lot of shit, and I think learning from it and keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you feel like you've given up and you're a recluse and no one gives a shit, you learn from that. And when opportunities come up where you can kind of change that, you hopefully take advantage of it. Sometimes it could take years to finally figure that out, dude. I've mentioned it before, but I worked for companies that were fucking horrible, that treated me like shit. And I put up with it until I didn't. And when I left, my outlook in life changed. And things were for the better. Yeah, I could get into ruts again doing the same shit, but I learned from my previous times of like, okay, well, going back to I was at jobs that I hated, but now I get to go to a job where I can make a difference. I have people that rely on me. So then that's a big jump in from what I was used to doing. And you mentioned the thing, Nate. I remember watching Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame coach, football coach. He was on Good Morning America, and he had the same thing. They said, "Can you give us any wisdom?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure there's days where you all work here and kind of dread, but like, take a step back and look at what you're really doing. Like, you guys get to come on."
Mindset.
Yeah. And I think, but obviously that's an easier said than done thing. When you're in that rut and they say you get to, it's like, I don't give a shit. I don't see it that way, but you're still moving forward. You're still doing those things. And I think over time you learn, and you sit with your significant other, if you haven't, sit down and go say, listen, I can't do this anymore. It's not for me. Yeah, maybe there's a potential job out there that's going to create a pay cut. I did it. I would fucking work for Amazon for almost a year. Took a huge pay cut. Honestly, I loved it.
But did for a while.
But
30,000 steps a day.
No, 50.
All right.
20 miles.
Like the bragger.
Yeah. Sorry. Just correcting you on statistics. But getting away, and sometimes it's good to step away from what you do, like as a career, to do something, mix it up. But then I came back and was more refreshed, and I worked for people that really cared about me, and it made a whole world of difference. Again, this is for me. Not everybody gets these opportunities, but don't pass them up when you have it. But eventually you're going to get sick of doing the same shit every day, and you got to find a way to dig yourself out. And I only say all this because I've done it. And when I was in like the depths of depression and being suicidal, I felt like I hit rock bottom. And there's going to be a point in your life where you're like, this life is not working. I got to change something. And moving forward, I learned a lot of all this for myself because of all the fucking health problems I had.
Right.
I say blessed with those because it allowed me to learn and appreciate what I have. Maybe not for a few years, but eventually I get out of that and step back and go, hey, wow, I went through all that shit. I can find something better. But again, like you said earlier, it takes effort. You got to make that effort. You got to make that step. And the hardest thing to do is step out of something, a routine, like being in something where people fear change. So that's going to be a big change. Do you want to make that effort or not? Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're absolutely on point. Here's another perspective, and it's going to take up a little bit of our screen here.
Okay.
What part of yourself would you like back? Not necessarily your younger body. Maybe it's your hunger, confidence, social life, ambition, hobbies, spontaneity, sex drive, friendships, or willingness to try something new.
Peripheral vision.
Medically available.
No, I'm kidding.
It goes back to a little bit of talking about your younger days.
Sure. No, I get it. It's a great question. Hunger, confidence is coming back. Social life is starting to come back. Hobbies, starting to want to play golf more. Sex drive, I got the pill that gets me going real quick. So that's not a problem. But the friendships that I've created through the cigar community have gone above and beyond any expectation I've had.
Yeah.
Especially you two. You two are
sex drive or
the
the
sex drive. You two. Never mind. Friendship. Sorry, my bad.
Jesus.
I got excited for a minute.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but willingness to try something new. I went and tried pickleball on Saturday.
Nice.
Like, fuck it. My wife told me, goes, what are you gonna do something this weekend to have fun, to enjoy yourself? And I was like, screw it. I've been wanting to try it. I did it. So
What are you laughing at?
Ray's comment.
oh boy.
You talk about the sex drive. That's not a community thing.
It can be in some places.
Not here, not in the garage.
Not yours.
Not in the garage. Not mine.
No, not here, but
It's fine.
it's like over there, Ray.
It's a different podcast.
What's going on over in Vietnam that we're not aware of?
Heard some
Want to
things.
fill me in?
Nate, how about you with that? What part of yourself would you like back if there is one?
The first thing that I thought of was having less responsibilities.
Never gonna happen.
I know. But
Nope.
like when
Next.
But no, like when I was younger and I had my first apartment, my first job, my first car, like I could, you know, I could basically do what I wanted to do because as long as I made enough money at work to, you know, pay for my responsibilities, my bills and stuff like that, the rest of the time I could do whatever I wanted. And, you know, whether I wanted to go play golf or whether I wanted to go play ultimate or whether I want to go play racquetball, I could do that stuff. And I think the issue a lot of people have is as they get older, they feel as though they have more responsibilities that require more of their time outside of work. You know, because obviously if we all have jobs, we have to go to work and take care of that responsibility because that's what affords us the opportunity to have hobbies or do things outside of work. But then, you know, if we feel like coming home is just like going to work,
Yeah. Good point.
then there's, you know, that mindset you have of, you know, I've never really been one of those people that went, oh darn, it's Monday, thank God it's Friday.
Yeah.
I've never been one of those kind of people.
Yeah. I've been one of those people that are looking forward to lunch hour.
Yeah, there's those people too.
Too early to take lunch. I'm gonna head out.
Like, you know, some people look forward to vacation because of where they're going or what they're going to get to do or who they're with, and you know, they look forward to that kind of thing. And then there are some people that look forward to vacation because, oh, thank God I don't have to go to work.
Sure.
You know, and then what happens when the vacation's over? Like, you know, 2 days before
Everything sets right back in.
Yeah, 2 days before vacation's even over, they're like, man, in 2 days I got to be back at the office. I got
Monday scaries, but from a great place.
Exactly, and it kind of ruins your mindset when you're still on the trip. It's like you're not living necessarily in the moment. The first few days of that vacation are the best because you're like, I can get up whenever I want during the day. I can do whatever I want. I'm you know, hopefully I'm with your favorite person. Like, this is great. But then as the week goes on, there are some people that are like, man, this vacation's exhausting. I can't wait to go back to work. And then there's other people like, oh shit, I have to go back to work in 2 days.
I didn't want to leave Dominican last year.
Tomorrow's the day.
They would have kept you, I'm sure.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day we have to get up.
Right,
and we have to go to the airport. And we have to deal with airport people and, you know, people who are acting like it's their first day on the planet and do all that stuff. And
it's every day.
And like by the end of your vacation, you're dreading.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why whenever Jess and I would take our trip to Lexington every year, you know, the event we go down to see runs from Thursday through Sunday. But we, you know, after the first year, we started taking that Monday off as well.
That's smart.
So that way, like, that was our day to kind of recover. You know, we could still hang out at the Airbnb the night before. We can get up whenever we need to check out. On our way home, we can stop by some places we want to and shop and do stuff like this. You know, we didn't have to rush to get packed, to get on the road. You get
relax,
home,
man.
You get home at 10 o'clock at night.
It's called good planning.
Yeah. And so it was one of those where we learned very early on, like, hey, let's take an extra day.
Yep.
To
rest.
Or come back a day early.
The vacation's done, but now we have this gap day to where
so important to have that.
Like we can get back into the mindset of things without ruining the vacation.
It's a good feeling to come home from those, if you have that. You're not feeling rushed anymore.
No, it's I agree. I've always take an extra day after I get back to try to just kind of readjust and I know what you're saying, Nate. And I'm like, I mentioned before, I've been very conscious about staying present, and I've caught myself the last couple of weeks of like on Sunday starting to get bummed. And I'm like, but I'll catch myself.
Sunday at 4:00 is one of the most depressing time periods of the week.
But it's like
I'm off on Mondays. No, it's not.
For general people that work a Monday to Friday job.
So, but I caught myself like starting to dread it, and I'm like, no, you got the whole fucking day ahead of you, man. It's up to you what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you can sit at home and mope and worry, but you just wasted all those hours and time to be able to find something or just have a different outlook. Like it was easy a few Sundays ago when Ryan and I played golf on Sunday. I was like, fuck yeah, who gives a shit about work? I want to play golf today. And
it's your day.
Yeah. So don't let that. I mean, I've done that for years, and it just made it. I look back now and I'm like, I had so much opportunity to make the best of the Sunday, and I always worried about what was going to happen.
I don't want to promote anyone from being late or leaving early from work, but the mentality of making sure that if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Right.
I can appreciate that. Right.
Sure.
I'm not good at it.
I'm not either.
But it's one of those things that it's like, if you are playing the corporate ladder game of I show up an hour early and I stay an hour or stay 15 minutes after the boss leaves, let's be honest, right? It's what are you leaving early from in the morning and the afternoon, right? What are you leaving early from that you like, I gotta go. It's like, well, you don't have to be at work for another hour. It's like, I can't be late. And it's like, well, you're not going to be late. It's like, what's the mentality there? And then on the other side of like, if it's your job and you're waiting for that 5 o'clock whistle, what are you like leaving from? Like the balance is that you enjoy both, right? That's the goal, and I think there's effort on both sides of it. For me, it's the hunger, right?
Yeah.
Hunger and confidence for me has always been ambition, right? Those are those things that for me has always been a kind of ebb and flow type of a issue for me, is that when it comes to, especially mostly on the professional side, right? It's always the, how do I keep that hunger?
Mm-hmm.
Do I get complacent? Is it something that I'm just doing? It's another, for example, and this is not really it, but for those that know me or follow us, it's like, oh, it's Tuesday. I have to do another Taste of Tuesday. It's like, because if I don't do it, like, people are going to be asking about it. It's like, I really enjoyed that at some point. So how do I make myself enjoy that again? Do I recreate it? Like the podcast, same thing. This is something we don't make any money off of. We enjoy it. People seem to enjoy listening to it. It's like, what do we do to make this more exciting again? You know what I mean? Like, how do we get that hunger, the confidence, and the ambition part back? It's like, what do you do with that? It's fine.
That's why Sean's here.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Rush on
for the podcast. I feel like when you guys had me be a part of the team, like I was thinking outside the box, and like I was bugging the shit out of you about go to TikTok, go to this place.
No, you're not.
What can we do? Like we do that, and
it's bringing in new people. The interviews like tonight, with Nick was great.
Yep.
But it's goes back to the same thing. It's effort, right? You can't. The biggest, I think, problem with complacency is that you no longer are putting effort towards anything.
Especially if you have black and white thinking.
Correct.
Because if you, like, for me, it was always like, well, I could go to the gym, but I got to eat perfect and I got to do this every day. And if I screw up, then I'm fucked. And that's not the right way to do it, obviously.
I love the videos now that I see on Instagram and stuff like that. It's like, you go to the gym, whatever, 5 days a week. Why don't you look like you work out?
Yeah.
So,
well, there's some people that go to
me.
But I think the big thing is, and just talking to my counselor today, is like, if you want to make a change, you don't have to do something drastic. to do something like, and now I've been doing something like smaller, like the last couple of days or few days last week, I got on the treadmill and watched TV. And I
started walking before my strength training. I had not done that. I remember I was a big walker when I was going through bad times. And so like this last like week and a half, I've been doing even as little as 5 minutes if I'm tight on time, but I hit the treadmill and do an incline walk and I felt so much better.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be something outlandish or some big change. It's just small shit. Like today, it's like, like for my changing in my job, is like I started going to lunch again. I'm like, now I'm more on the forefront of thinking, all right, I do need to step away. And I kind of force myself to do that. And they're just little small things. You try to do too much too fast.
That's the effort though.
Yeah.
That's the effort. That's all it takes.
But by doing that, it doesn't overwhelm you.
No.
It's easier to just say, oh, I can get up and walk around for 5 minutes. But then all of a sudden you do it more and more. And now all of a sudden it becomes your routine and you're feeling better because you do it.
All right, here you
go. What? Oh, that's a good question.
If you knew the next 5 years were going to be your second prime, what would you start doing differently tomorrow? This is a mindset thing.
I'd probably,
or third prime, whatever it might be, but this is your later in life prime, 40s, 50s here at the table.
Probably.
Nate, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
I'd be more intentional.
It's a good answer.
You would or will?
I would. Like if I knew the next 5 years was going to be
giving you an out there,
my next prime.
You will.
Like
say would.
How much would
I'd be a lot more intentional about what effort I put in at work, what effort I put in at home, what effort I put in my personal life, whether it be mentality, physicality, whatever it is. Like if I knew, like, hey, this is your opportunity to be your next prime. Just call it next prime, not second. But like, and I know what you're thinking. I can see those wheels turning.
Just a vein. Bald.
Those are the wheels.
There's a couple there.
A lot of blood flow going on right now.
Yep.
But I'd be a lot more intentional about the choices I make and where I put my energy.
So Nate,
good.
The next 5 years are going to be your next prime. What will you start doing differently tomorrow? Same answer, but with will.
Yeah, I mean,
dude. No, you answered it. I think you answered it very well.
So,
it is a wood way
so
I phrased it.
Yeah, I'm getting ready.
I'm
getting ready to start a new job in
a great time for you.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start a new job in an industry I haven't worked in before, but there's a lot of things from previous careers that I can bring into what I'm going to be doing.
Which is why they hired
you. And yes, it is. So like my mindset already going into this new role is what were the things that I did before that made this employer really like me on paper and in person?
Yeah.
And how do I implement those into this industry, in this field, and get back to doing those kind of things? And, it's definitely going to be a big change. I've got a lot to learn. But
great opportunity
about the industry, but not necessarily about people.
Yes, but my ability to learn quickly is one of the things that they liked about me in the interview process. So I need to, right off the rip, like go in and do everything I can to learn as much as I can about this role, about this industry, do everything I can to help out the people that I'm going to be surrounded with, so that way we all have success in this. And so there's definitely going to be, I'm not going into this new role as it's like, oh, thank God I get to do something. It's all right. This is something new. Like I'm a little bit behind the curve, probably because my age in the industry with the role, I'm going to be a little bit behind the curve. So I need to go in and just
Sean's old
and go balls to the wall and
frame reference.
Do everything I can. There's a sense of like I want these people I want the people I'm working with and the people that I'm working for to in a year from now look back and go, you know what, it was a good thing we hired that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I want out of it, and maintain that kind of perception.
I can tell you're hungry about it. And I can tell, like, just from what I would look at it from my perspective, I think you feel the same way. Is like, once I get settled in, I'm excited to be able to create an impact, giving, like, just seeing things from a new perspective, being able to maybe provide insight or like create an idea or a workflow to maybe change some things up. And I mean, I'm excited for you in that, because that's kind of what I've always been trying to do every day. But it's for that though, like, I think the world is your oyster with this place, and I'm happy for you.
That's the newness part of it.
Yeah.
And we just talked about the complacency part of after that newness.
It's up to you though.
Yeah.
I do. Are we doing closing remarks?
Sure.
I just wanted to say something just regarding those closing remarks. Is you're the master of your own destiny, whether you're 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and above. It's up to you to decide how bad you want it. But it's also nice to be able to have this topic brought up to make you think that. So for me,
talked about, right?
Yeah. And I think the people here that are listening and that listen to it later is like, it's a great fucking question. The questions that you provided here today, it's been eye-opening for me. And it excites me even more to see what I can tackle to create a better better with work, but also like I may take a weekend and drive down to Kentucky and go check out a couple of the facilities and distilleries and like,
or Cambridge, Wisconsin.
Yeah. I'll bring my fishing pole if I do that, but
also hunting gear.
Yes, apparently.
You're gonna kill some things.
Yep. And eat them. But I think that's kind of where having this brought up, I wish everyone could almost have like a fucking laminated thing to sit in front of you every day and say, what do you
can.
Yeah, it's like
you can just like go to Kinko's probably.
Right.
You just wear it across wear it across your neck like a clock for food.
You can make a shirt.
Tattoo.
Right? Tattoo. Or less permanent. Well, it's permanent on a shirt, but you can just wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Buyjack.com/Bourbon BS.
Have it upside down so you can look down at. Oh,
no, but I think that's kind of how I'm going to end it, because I think this is a great eye-opening topic, and for me, and I'm excited for other people that actually see this and kind of just sit back and think about it, because the world is your oyster, master of your own destiny. What are you going to do? 5 years from now, I want to be playing golf more. I want to be able to do things.
The point of this question is if you knew the next 5 years were going to be your second prime, what would you start doing differently tomorrow?
Okay.
If you want to be playing more golf in 5 years, how do you get there? That's my thing. Is that
good point. Good question.
If the next 5 years of my life are the second prime, I think the last 5 years have been the start of my second prime. Personally,
I agree
in every way.
Yep.
Right. So for me, from a work standpoint, you guys keep going towards work. I've had ups and downs, love what I do. It's not a big business. We try to work within our parameters to do a lot of the same things over and over again, like most jobs, right? It's you try to keep that hunger on that part,
sure,
right? Every year we do events or a smoking tent event. You come in the shop, it sounds like, oh, you got a great job. It's like, yeah, it is. But for the wrong person, it's not a good job. You got to talk to people.
Yep.
You got to hang out. You got to expose yourself. I mean, that's one of the big things. It's like so many customers know about my home improvement projects that Kristen and I have been doing. You know what I mean? They're like,
yeah.
Or my car got broken into a couple months ago. And it's like, did you get your car back? You know what I mean? Like those types of things. And it's like, I do it for me, but also because I enjoy, and I don't know, maybe people think I'm annoying, whatever. I don't give a shit, but it's like they actually are like invested, because it's like that reality TV show. It's like you have someone that, hey, how are things going? Good. Okay. How are things going? My fucking car was broken into and it's in the shop right now and all this stuff. And oh my God, you have no idea. I was telling, Nate about it. It's like people ask about the home. Did you get your chandelier hung?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. Let me show you pictures. But when you think you're done with everything, I'm closing up the house the other night and the fucking handle falls off my hand. And so it's like
he was so strong, he just ripped it right out of the door.
No, I'm glad I did it, not Kristen, because Kristen would be like, well, I don't, it's, but it's like you just live your life like it. I don't want to say like you're the main character, but you just live your life and you embrace every aspect of it. That's the effort, right? You embrace it. That's the biggest thing that I've learned recently, and thank God for an amazing partner in Kristen. It's like, and you guys coming along for the ride. It's what would I start doing differently tomorrow? Staying more on point of keeping this going.
Yeah,
is not letting, because I've been in those. I maybe have had a previous prime, but the biggest thing now is that I know the times in my life that I would not consider my prime.
Sure.
And I know that where I'm living now and what I'm doing now, I don't want it to end.
Sure.
That's that whole thing. So when I do those things, it's not necessarily a pointed question. Pass that so I don't necessarily cheers with an empty glass. There is an effort there to actively enjoy your life the best you can.
I always say, like, all the shit I've been with, it's gone through, it's like, keep moving forward. You inspire me. I've watched you.
Don't.
No, I've watched you go from good to like really rough times to getting back to where you are now, and you deserve every fucking minute of it because you've been through some shit. But you, like I always say, you moved forward. You never stopped.
I also owned it.
Yeah.
To my best ability, I could.
Yeah. And you never gave up. You kept moving forward, and I've seen improvements by leaps and bounds, and just like your overall energy or attitude has been like, you're right. You're in your prime now, personally, your third or whatever prime, because you have
physically, I'm trying to get back to that.
And those are small. I mean, those are great.
Thanks to peptides and testosterone.
Sure. And I think that, starting tomorrow, it's just, I've kind of already started doing things to get myself into some certain habits where I continue to do that and find other opportunities. But it goes back. I always go back to you because you kept moving forward and you are reaping the benefits of it now. And you got to take every day as a gift, as we all do. I think we all do that, but you want to keep it this way. There's going to be obstacles, obviously, your house being one of them, but you keep fucking moving forward. And I'm proud of you for that. And I'm just inspired by it. So sorry, I'm trying to not telling you, I love you, man. It was like, I'm not that drunk or I'm being that stupid, but I'm just saying.
Not that drunk.
Yes. But, and same to you, Nate, same thing goes to you, brother. I mean, you lost.
No, come back to me.
I can't go anymore. But same thing goes to you because you've been going through some shit. You kept moving forward, and now look where you're at.
All over this table.
And and look what you've landed a new job. So many opportunities ahead. So many opportunities for you to maybe create a great environment and come in with some fresh ideas. And I'm excited to see where you go with it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll stop. I'm done.
And Sean, to you, same, right? You've had struggles in your life that a lot of people haven't dealt with. If you listen back to the first podcast that Sean was on, telling his life story, it is a different life than most of you have had. I will say that it's always a constant reminder of appreciating what you've been through so that you can go through what's coming.
Sure.
Negative, positive.
Yep.
But even this podcast tonight, if you guys are listening, earlier on, it was great having Nick on. Yes. And it's like, my God, it's like he's talking about how we rock. I had the General Cigar rep in this afternoon. I was a little late leaving the shop because we are on the 16th. We're going to have the Partagas brand ambassador on.
Wow.
And we were talking, and she's just like, I just don't even know who's doing like cigar podcasts anymore. I was like, I can name several. And she's like, I don't know them. And maybe that's on her, but it was like one of those things. Like, we don't have a huge following, but you keep doing those things and you keep applying yourself to what you are passionate about. And you have conversations with someone like Nick tonight that you learn the fact that this guy is tuning in, luckily, because we used to have him in the garage all the time. You have these people literally like signing on to talk to us and talk to you guys. And
Sure.
It's like, I don't take that for granted at all.
No.
We are no one in this industry and in the whiskey industry. And it's just like the fact that we have this love from people that we have connected with, and then they put us in connection with other people. It's amazing. You hear that excitement from Nick and that, this whole story. It like Sean, you were saying, it just like breathes this new life into you.
Yeah. It's intoxicating.
I think that's the biggest thing. If I'm going to leave with my closing remark, you guys can chime in if you'd like, or we can sign off.
Sure.
If you knew the next 5 years were going to be your second prime, what would you start doing differently tomorrow? Is living passionately with the decisions and the life situation that you're in. And the second would be that you open yourself up to new people before, in my opinion, before new experiences.
Sure.
The new people that you bring in will lead you to new experiences. And I think a new mindset that sometimes if you are not in the mindset of the person that you're talking to, that will be a huge inspiration to you. And that goes both ways, right? Mm-hmm. If you talk to someone, you're like, how's it going? You're like, not good. And they're like giving that to you and it's not good. And you listen to them like, holy shit, my life's pretty good.
Yep.
And you try to help that person the best you can if they want it. Or you listen to someone that is just on all cylinders and you're like, I'm not on all cylinders.
It's perspective.
And I would love to be at that mindset.
Yep.
Now I have to strive to be to that. So you open yourself up to the ambition of others and the experiences of meeting new people or new sources of information. Because I think when you're younger, when you were in your prime, as we consider it, I think at that moment, not teenager, because you're cock strong and you just know everything.
You were a dick. Yep, I was a dick.
But I think that you don't realize, you look back now, you're like, the reason I was that good in my prime is because I had these people around me that were bringing me up to that level.
Sure.
And I think later in life, we don't do that as much. And I think that you can, if you really expose yourself of who you are and what you're going through, no matter if it's good or bad, and never take things for granted.
I love it. Hey, did you want? I don't know if Nate got closing remarks yet. Did you have anything?
I think mine was like my answer to that. I think started the closing remarks, and then you went, and then Steve.
Okay, cool.
Nate, closing remarks.
Son of a bitch.
Guys, cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Yep. Cheers. Good cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.